It means to me.
Yeah, good.
407 to 440, 414.5
I'm bidding 407.
Tesla. Watching for months now. It is helpful to me and a reminder at minimum to stay disciplined trader. All cash since November because you're thinking correction. Thoughts? I have missed a lot of gains, but have stuck to this.
If you're going to stick to it, I think you should stick to it at this point, because if there's going to be a correction.
Yeah, at this point, we're at the highs.
You know.
I always find like there's always something. If you're looking for dip buys, there's always something that's giving you a dip buy, right? Like it's not like there's nothing
literally always
that's been pulling back. I think usually you can find something that's giving you a bit of a dip buy. Look, it's past 11 o'clock. Those tacos are going to be fire one way.
I was just going to say before we go, yeah, it's up to you guys, but I was going to say, like, there are different ETFs and dividend plays you could just sit in where you can still be collecting like 2 to 3% a year on those plays. So if you are sitting in cash, don't sit in cash. Sit in cash or cash equivalents. Sit into something that you can get in and out of that will also pay you a little bit. So that's just a little bit of advice, because you never know. Like, even if you get that 3% and you missed 12 in the NASDAQ, at least you get
it's better
something.
than nothing.
Yeah,
it's better than nothing.
Anyways, okay, good show there. Thanks for everything, guys. Joe and Sharif are on. How about now?
Pretty good. I think we're be tranquille. There's no tranquille around here. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. This right there, this guy on the screen. There you go. That's your boy, Joey Options. I'm Sharif. Joey.
Yo.
What do we usually do after this? We say hello to everybody.
We say hello, everybody.
Say hello. Elevators make me fart. Shout out to Elevators Make Me Fart. That's gotta be the best name in the chat. Maybe competing with some others. La Raza, YV7584. We got Spooky Beats and Pitchbull. Ricardo Trader Senior, YV7584. Again, what's going on, brother? Ozan, happy to be a new follower. China. Yes, Ozan, we'll get those China things coming on for you. There's my man, Benton C. Come on, you Gunners. All right, so it is official. It is Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain in Budapest, May 30th, 12 o'clock. Be there or be square. I'm going to be there. Damien Tarza, we got Christ God's Son. Yes, my man. We got Captain Bananas, 3251, King Clutch. Ahmed, Masters, 8102, HP Motorcars. Joey. We got Game Craft Nico. Sheriff, he says. Right back at you, baby. JD Vance? J Van Dewey. Jesse Martinez, Gabe Saper. We got Blicky Spears, not Britney Spears, Joey. Blicky Spears and Migsy, 36, Durant Gordon, Wild Drover. We got, who else? AJ Chafers and Ted Ease. Joey, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we have a shout out from Egypt as well, too.
Egypt!
Yeah, Vinewood boy. What's up? Hello from Egypt.
Hey,
one of my favorite countries that I've never been to.
Hold on. Where in Egypt? I need details. Cairo or Alexandria? Because that's going to make a big difference whether I like you or not. I'm playing.
It's like that. It's like that over there, eh? All right. Yeah, let's do a little roll call. I'm sure Bravely messaged us here in the chat. I don't want to assume anything, but he did, because the guy is consistent. Let's give a couple of people and some notice to our folks over at TikTok. We got Raw. Okay, I like that. Amir, Realtor, Beda, Mosa, Patrick, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Now we have Shelly, Amir, Andrew, Watu, Jobin. What's going on, everyone? Randy, Miss, Gabriel, T. Rose, T. Rock. You guys know J. Rock?
Suit. Oh my God, this guy's in a suit. This guy's in the South.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right. So it's hot. It's hot over there, right?
Yeah, it's always hot there, Joey.
Yeah, that's my stuff. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, J-Rock. Do you guys know who J-Rock is? Anyways, if you don't, look him up. We have C. Spooner, Bablo Friday, Charles Tolliver. What's going on, brother? Amaro.
Don Tolliver?
John Tolliver.
Oh, wow, I thought it was Don.
Don himself.
If it was Don Tolliver, I love Don
Then we really
Tolliver,
make
bro.
it, and then we also have Hale. Yes. You knew Marcus Aurelius?
You told me about him yesterday.
But you knew Marcus.
I'm not that old.
All right,
jerk.
well, I'm just saying. No, I'm not. You're not getting what I'm doing here. It's a scene from Gladiator. You knew Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, my bad. It's been a
come
minute since
on,
I've seen
man.
Gladiator, man. That's like
the
from the
one
90s.
movie that you can continuously go back on.
True.
All right, guys.
True.
Let's get right into things. Enough is enough. I know a couple people are saying, "Here, Joe, I'm here for the playlist. I can't give away everything." You know what I mean? But nonetheless, let's get into some IBIT.
Get it, Joey.
Not working for us, so we're just gonna AC Slater that one. Small size on it. You take the stop out when you're supposed to. We lose about 12 cents on that one only. And you know what am I saying? Going over here, tripping over dollars to collect pennies. That wasn't the case here this morning. We are tripping over pennies to collect dollars here on NVDA as it continued to climb up 4.2% there, guys. This was just, you just need one. This was the initial trade. We play the volume weighted average price break. It didn't crack that $100 marker, and then off to the races it goes. There's a slight volatility spike in the market, and it was holding up relatively well. And I'm like, oh, okay, I think at some point we're going to be able to rock and roll and maybe go and test that all-time high here by the end of the week. I think that's going to be most definitely in play. We were talking about NVDA via options and how we can play that leading into its earnings report. They're buying it up. That's a strong signal. We like that. What's going on, Jody? I forgot to give you a little bit of mention. Jesse, my little bro, can you explain why some stocks are going up but some aren't? Brother, I think that's a question we all ask sometimes. As Sharif brought to me yesterday, it's very obvious, and it's like, hey, man, sometimes there's a little bit more sellers than there is buyers.
And you hated that response.
No, I didn't hate it. But listen, I know Katina Man. Katina Man was adamant about the fact about my 50 cents that I have left in my long-term portfolio. What do we have to do? We have to top it up. So I got to make sure that Katina Man knows that we're sitting on 1.5% cash now, fully allocated. JPM absolutely tanking here today. So like, what's going on with that? But we do have CrowdStrike now north of $500. So yeah, we're liking that, guys. Other than that, NVDA has been him for us today. NVDA at the top of our list. We're liking what these chips got going on. AMD slightly cooler, just due to the fact it's like, all right, it's all right. Let's get a little bit of a rotation into another one of the chip names, and that's going to be NVDA. Its time is now over. Let's focus on this name through.
Well said, Joey. Well, very well said. No, look, serious response though to your answer or to your question. Pardon me. About why things are moving the way that they are. Look, you know how every time you know that there is a wind blowing in one direction, it's blowing against something else, right? And so money has to funnel out of one area into another. So typically, you know, unless it's kind of like 2021 or 2020 where everything and their mother was moving up with crazy valuations, you're going to have cyclicality in the market. You know, you're doing well one day. I'm talking like semiconductors doing well one day, maybe cybersecurity not doing well the other. We saw that rotation, right? Remember the Anthropic angle? Everything was ripping except the cybersecurity names. How funny that was, and it's completely changed. All right, let's get down to work here. I'm in a position, RXT, I'm looking for 447. We went the beak already here at 457. That's going to be my 2R on RXT. This is a clean hold right now, currently, of the 10 EMA on the 5, having gotten back into that 430 level. I did like that 420 to 430 level, Joey, because there was certainly resistance here at 420. Shout out to all my 420 fans out there. You guys know what's up. But the reality is I'm looking for this one to step up, hold the 10 EMA on the 5. It just held it right now. It breached prior bar high. I'm talking about the 1105 candle relative to the 11 candle. So I'm looking for, 457. High of the day is 462. We're going to keep a close eye on this one, but there's plenty to talk about. So let's bring in the side charts over here and start talking a little bit about RPGL. Shout out to the OG Bovin, because he did point this one out to me, even though I did have eyes on it. Look, Bovin, I like this. I want to see what the deal is going to be with $2, first and foremost, okay? Reason I say, what's going on with my position over here? Oh, it's losing the trend. Let me just... Give me a sec just to get out of that, and then we're going to go 419 on that. So I don't want, let's go 418, sorry. Give me a minute here. There we go. For that machine. All right. I want to see what's going to go on with $2. We got into 213. That's great. We breached 2. Fantastic look. This thing's been very parabolic, very strong. RPGL hasn't even touched the 10 EMA on the 5 since basically 940 this morning. Not even. It didn't even touch it there. So the point is, it's very directional. It's generally holding higher lows, but I want to see, does it retrace back into 2? If it comes into 2 and it generally holds 2, I'm getting back in. I'm getting in. I haven't even been in yet. Then if it fails that, I'm looking for VWAP in and around the mid 180s. We'll see how this cookie ends up crumbling, but definitely watching for that. Then there's ATRA. I was talking to somebody in the chat, I think Yoga, shout out to Yoga in the chat, was like, hey man, what do you think about this? I'm like, I'm worried a little bit about a double top because there's your pre-market high into 810, 810 high, 896. Official high a day, 895. 894, pardon me. No, it's 895. I don't know why it's showing me 894 over here, but that's 895. So a bit of a double top. They're only separated by 1 penny. Now look, if it takes out 9, that completely changes everything here. So we're gonna have to see how this cookie ends up crumbling. But if it ends up coming into 8 or 775, I'm gonna get probably long. Reason is 10 EMA on the 5, $8. And then the whole dollar, obviously. And then you have the volume weighted average price at around 780. So very interested in this one. And I have more to say, but we got to send it up to Adara with news.
Just be aware here of Boeing. Apologize if this was mentioned. I just got back from the bathroom. But Boeing on the move to the upside. CNBC reporting that Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg will be traveling with President Trump on his China trip next week. So again, Boeing on watch here. CNBC reporting that CEO Kelly Ortberg's headed off to China. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. All right. Looking at RPGL, interested in this one as well. It looks like it's holding prior bar low. So here's what we're going to do on RPGL. We're going to get in, Joey. And we're going to give this one to prior bar low. See what happens. This 205.5. So we're going to go ahead. RPGL, there we go. I don't know why. Oh, that's why. So let's go ahead and throw in said stop for that many shares. Good. So we'll see what happens with this one. All right, ATRA is coming back down pretty aggressively here for the individual that was asking me about this in the chat. Now, this is possibly your opportunity, right? $8, 10 EMA on the 5. A buy zone, in my opinion, if it holds. You're going to have to see if it holds, so don't set resting orders. I can't tell you what to do, but I personally wouldn't set resting orders. I'd wait for a clean hold and then a curl back up, $8 to $7.75. Those are my levels, Joey, on ATRA. Let's see what happens.
Good stuff. Momo Kayuki, what's going on? Yeah, I can't even scroll that low, unfortunately, but it depends, right? You can put it in lots or, pardon me?
How low can you go?
How low can you go? How low can you? Yeah, you can't even scroll that low, unfortunately, here on PFE. I mean, other than that, you can either put it within lots. So if you have it in lots, then just times it by 100, or you can just go flat out share size, right? So these would just be the actual amount of shares, 9,000 here, 4,000 there, 6,500, and so on and so forth. All right, yeah, so what's everyone got going on? Gorev, yeah, I see what we're looking at here on Tesla. I would have liked this candle to close green, but that's not the case right now. And if it cracks that low, the support level that we have right now, I'm going to wait for maybe a hold from some of these pre-market zones at 406. We had a technical breakout on this name. I was keeping an eye on it, and I was talking about it earlier in the week. I'm like, at some point, I believe we are going to break through this pivot. Let's see if we can get somewhat of a sustained move. Now you're only down 10% off of that high. Oh, sorry, 20%. What am I even talking about here? But I mean, it's a big-time move off of the lows. We'll take it here in Tesla. And I was talking with Jose, for those who know, you know. This morning, I'm like, hey, we have a lot of the big names continuing to put in all-time highs. You have Google, Apple, NVDA, Broadcom, all around that neck of the woods. But then there's a couple that are lagging, right? Like we have Meta, we have Tesla, and Microsoft, who aren't really participating in this overstretched rally, I'm going to call it. But if they decide that, like, hey, if the narrative changes and the sentiment changes with some of these names, obviously Meta and Microsoft, more or less what I'm referring to, then watch out. The market can continue to go here. I do feel like we're stretched, but it doesn't matter what I think or what I feel. You just have to go with the flow and see if you can start to participate. Sharif was asking me, hey, man, are you in any of these memory plays? I'm like, I'm not. But I watched this piece on Bloomberg yesterday, just on semis and everything.
Oh, I think we probably saw the same one. Were they like talking about ASML a lot?
Yeah.
Yes, Joey.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Dude, how sick is the TSM fab in
Arizona?
How sick
crazy,
is it, bro?
Don't you like how they build them like in little cities?
Yeah,
you see what they said,
it's
though?
like an ecosystem.
Exactly, because they have all the personnel there, and they're like, yo, you got to keep it all close.
Yeah,
Joey. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, man, that was a good piece. Yeah, that was a good piece, and it makes you want to go there just to like drive around. I'm sure. I don't know if you could get that close. They must have like a gate that you have to get in.
This is probably one of the most secure areas in the country.
Yeah,
you know they're delivering Blackwell GPUs in armored vehicles.
Yeah,
armored vehicles.
Let me secure. Let me be the security for those. You know we can do that. All right, $5. But yeah, sorry about the Pfizer. I can't go that much lower, but hopefully if you have it in lots or shares, you can change that up on your level too. All right, thanks for IonQ yesterday. Sold right before close, plus 40%. What do you think of DELL? Sleeper, a few catalysts coming up, but 235 calls at the open. Yeah, let's pull up DELL, man. The first computer that my family ever owned was a DELL, I believe. So it's a DELL. Man, how are you gonna even call this thing a sleeper? It's definitely not sleeping, that's for sure. 100% from, I guess, the earlier this year, February. So that's a big time move. It can probably continue. This chip trade, I think, is gonna be in play for the next couple of years, to be honest with you. I mean, we're looking to ride this probably into 2030, 2031. Pullbacks, you buy them, because earlier in the year we're like, oh man, the chip trade, it's dead, it's dead, it's dead. No, I don't think it's gonna die off that quick. Considering what you've seen what Texas Instruments is up to as well.
Yeah, man.
What a massive play, man.
They're trying to get into the more advanced chips.
Yeah.
But you see how they were talking about wafers?
Yeah.
And like how
like the 200 millimeter wafer.
Exactly, right? And basically they just come off this circular, it looks like a wafer, right? But they all like break up into small pieces.
Small chips.
It's super interesting.
They like and I like how they were talking about AMAT as well too. That's why Applied Materials has been going on this big time run, man. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff, and that just gave me some more conviction within the trade and what these guys are spending. Because eventually, what happens when they slowly start to cool down in CapEx? And then what is it from that point, right? Like, are these guys going to go back to being extremely cash dominant? For me, the answer is going to be yes. And with that being said, I think this market is just going to climb. We're going through a structural and a fundamental change within how we operate day to day. And we're just starting at the top. Once it really starts to funnel and more people start to adapt these tools, I just think it's going to be revolutionary, in my opinion, which it already is. So, you hate PLTR wannabe trader? What's it up to? Did you try shorting this thing? By the way, CrowdStrike 502. Let's pull up Palantir. Why do you hate it? It's all the way up to 140, bouncing off some of these lows. Let's pull up the daily and see what we have going on with Palantir. It's the SaaS names, right? It's just getting dinged with some of the other software names. But Palantir, wait for this trend line to break. Off to the races we can go on that name.
All right, guys, here we go. Bovin, thank you for pointing this out. We have a new IPO today, HAWK. Top showing 32. I didn't have eyes on this. Let's talk a little bit about it, give you the deets on this. Shares of signals. Let me make this a little bit bigger so everybody can follow along. I do apologize. Have to keep my eye on my positions here, Joey. All right, shares of Signals intelligence data analytics provider Hawkeye 360 are set to make their trading debut Thursday after the company's IPO was priced at the high end, like that right away, raising $416 million. Late Wednesday said they're selling 16 million shares at $26 a pop. Okay, so that's higher than the expected range, the high end of the range, it was 24 to 26. The top, as I just showed you guys, is showing 32. So it's already a good look. I like this. The pricing gives the Herdon, Virginia company an initial market cap of around $2.5 billion, assuming the underwriters exercise an option to buy an additional 2.4. So they do have that option. Shares are due to begin trading later today. So we're going to keep a close eye out on this for you. HAWK on the NY. It's showing a top of $32. We'll look at the paired volume as soon as we get back from Madero.
I have some more details here on this Boeing story. So as we know, CNBC reporting that Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg is going to be joining President Trump on his visit to China. Now, apparently, during a prior recent visit to China here, U.S. senators actually discussed proposed purchases here of Boeing's during that visit. So again, BA could actually have some deals lined up when they arrive in China. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Here it is. Assassino, are we able to zoom in a little on this, brother? Just so that everybody can see. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. All right, so Assassino is going to zoom in on it in a second. If you're wondering who Assassino is, and we often get questions.
Don't tell him.
Yeah, well, we got to tell them, Joey. You know, they got to feel like they're with us in this whole thing here. Assassino is the dude on the ones and twos. He's the guy changing the screens. He's the guy. He's controlling the whole show. Okay, his name's Andre. But I like him so much, I call him the assassin because he's good at what he does. That's why I call him the assassin. And then Ram, well, you know, that's Ramin. HAWK.NY showing B. What does that mean? That means buy side imbalance. Love you, Ram. I'm just joking, girl. 280,000 shares. Buy side, I like that paired so far, 703,000. So this is looking pretty good already, Joey. I got to tell you the truth. So I'm liking the look of this one's jib. I'm not liking the look of, well, I'm out of that position. Good, it stopped me out. Of our RXT is losing the bid here, so we're out of that. But I'm going to keep a close eye on HAWK. As soon as this opens up, we will have that for you, and we will, bring that. So that's a good look there. All right, keeping an eye here on RPGL. Still looking for a hold a trend. We're out a little bit less than half the position in at 12. Best peak weather we've got was a high of the day at 19. Looking for continuation. But as our friend in the chat has said multiple times, I forget his name, XNDU is looking like the best of the bunch. In the 1946 high, showing 32s right now. So strong is XNDU, it hasn't even glanced the way of the 10 EMA on the 5 since 9:40 this morning. So I'm very interested in executing here on XNDU. And by the same vein, I'm keeping a close eye, Joey, on ACVA. This one, NY? Yes, NY. There we go. Coming in to this flat top area, it looks like there's a lot of selling for whatever reason, right out around the $0.50. But this is a good-looking recovery. A bit of a V-shaped upside-down V. We call that the Christmas tree retracement. Green on one side, red on the other. But now it's kind of found its footing, and it's stair-stepping up, having held 6 quite cleanly. And now we're at that 650-ish level. We're above it right now. Let's see if we can decisively clear it. It's a 670 high on ACVA. So we're about 20 pennies off that level. I'm liking this one as well, guys, so we're going to keep a close eye on this.
You like that one's jib?
I do.
Yeah, all right, man. Just, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff going on here today. You can see that the Q's slowly starting to come back in. Tesla right at some key support levels. Now, I think for somewhat of a bounce here, we had a technical breakout on the day with some profit taking up at 415. Where's that next level that we're going to look for potential move back into the volume weighted average price? Right here, 406.60. If we get that bounce, now cracking through that signal, Gorb, I would have went long on this one if it closed as a green one, but as a green print, but it did not. And now we're starting to reject VWAP. So with that being said, pull back into this area. We're going to see how price reacts on that support level, acting as prior resistance, so I think we'll be able to find something along those lines. Got 420 December calls just now. Says, oh, Zane, I know you always got
love that guy.
Those Tesla trades on. Small cap gap a show could be 9:30 to 4 p.m. Make it happen, guys. Let's go. So we want all day? You want the all-day small cap gappers? That's crazy. We have Shreve. Do you think Peloton can squeeze?
Oh,
I don't know if that one is going to work out. Yeah, dang, my nose is leaking here. Anyways, aside from that, guys, I'm looking for the next potential trade. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Who did Peloton sign a deal with the other day? Peloton? Not the other day, like a while ago. I'm pretty sure they got a contract. But, I mean, I don't know about this, right? Like we talk about this just being a bike with an iPad on it, a cycle. I think that's it. The days of this thing continuing to climb or being a good performer are completely over. There's an equal chance of Peloton going back up to $170 as there is as Aurora Cannabis going up to $1,300. Okay? So, I mean, if you know, you know, and if you don't, then unfortunately you don't. But other than that, it's at $5.64. It might be able to find somewhat of a bottom and a squeeze, but if you're looking for a full-blown recovery in this name, in my opinion, you're not going to get it, all right? And I think a lot of people can agree with me. Now, moving forward, let's head over to our watch list and see what we got going on from some of the top dogs here today. Apple printing 291. Who do you think you are? I am, as it continues to climb, tapping into the new. Bang.
Why does it cut off?
Why does it cut off so quickly?
I want to hear that
again, man. I already hit my limit on Stream Deck hits today, so if I exceed that, then it slowly gets deducted off of the paycheck. So I got to be cautious. I can't hit Bang or the Stone Cold too many times. But you know what Mark Cuban once did?
What did he do, Joey?
he swore once on mic, and then they're like, you just got a $50,000 fine or whatever.
Oh, because it was on cable.
So what did he do? And he's like, boom, swear again, no problem. So
he dropped a hundo.
But he dropped another hundo. I don't know if it was that much, but we'll hit the bang. Deduction. Tara, what do you got?
What I have here is a little bit of a spike in USO, guys. Already giving back up this move, but this is the 3-minute chart. We went up about 50 cents here, getting a couple different reports. One from Washington Post suggesting that according to a U.S. intelligence source, Iran will be able to outlast President Trump's Hormuz blockade for months. Other comment here is coming from the Iran Foreign Ministry spokesperson saying that Iran has not yet reached a conclusion on the U.S.'s proposal. No response has been given as of yet for the U.S. Now, we also get here Iran reportedly imposing new rules for the passage of the Strait of Hormuz, as reported by the CNN. If I get what these rules are from Iran, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
There's actually something interesting. Come fly with Carlos. You can absolutely drive by the TSMC fab in Arizona. You can actually get to the parking lot and even the front office. You can't park, but you can get within 6 feet of the building. I'm an engineer for ASML.
Sorry?
Oh,
I was concentrating. Sorry,
okay, so yeah, apparently you can get into the parking lot of the TSMC fab in Arizona.
You can?
Yeah, that's what this guy said. He said he's an engineer from ASML.
That's crazy. I thought that would definitely would have been all up in your business there.
The parking lots are so cool.
Huge. Yeah, and they all have solar.
Yeah, they all have solar, right?
If you're not taking advantage of solar in the desert, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Trading IBIT.
Trading IBIT, this guy. All right. We're long here, ACVA. I don't know, man. This one looks good. It's a slow mover, but it's stair-stepping up ever since that big flush off that 670 high that we put in at, I think, basically 935. It was an aggressive sell all the way down, held 6 clean. So I'm looking for another move here into 670, maybe even a bit more. Now, I had to stop out of RPGL. We're profitable on this one on every part, but I didn't like the breakdown and the loss of the fifth of a dollar. Now it is coming down into a good area here. I want to see what happens at around 204, 205. The reason I say that is because that's the 10 EMA on the 5. It's going to be a buy zone, I should say, because the 10 EMA is so close to that $2 level. Let's see if $2-ish area holds up. I'm definitely interested. But XNDU is flushing. 1950, it's at 17, almost 1750. There it is, 17 2/3. A big drop here on XNDU, bleeding its own blood, multiple topping tail candles into that 1950. Probably kind of gave us a little bit of a hint that there may be a seller of note. Let's see if it can reclaim that area. It's turning into a bottoming tail candle now. That was an aggressive flush. I hope people were exercising sound risk management skills on this one. Seller at 18 locally gets decimated. So it looks like it's holding off 1750 and or the 20 EMA on the 5. So I want to keep a close eye here on XNDU because this could be an interesting entry. Now, we do have the volume weighted average price a little bit lower than the current bar low, which is about 1708. I want to say 1710s-ish. Current bar low, exact level. We'll give you that in a moment, 1759. So it does hold the $0.50. If you were to punch in here and you want current bar low, perhaps give it to like 49 or 48. Never financial advice, just suggestions. So keeping a close eye on XNDU, knowing that this could be an interesting entry here. Now, if I was to get in here and I would say, just for the sake of example, give it to 48s. All right, we can keep a close eye on that. I don't know if this one's done bleeding its own blood quite yet. So let's continue to watch here on XNDU. I'm going to let that ACVA trade kind of marinate on its own. It's a slow mover. So there seems to be a buyer here in the high 17s generally. I want to say the 70s, 60s, and 80s. Here we are back in the 70s again. Let's see if we lose this level. Looks like we're holding up generally at the $0.75. Just waiting essentially for the bottom to form here. It's not done yet. Joey, down into the 60s we go on XNDU. Continuing to watch. Remember, current bar low is 59. 59, exactly. Here we are breaching current bar low. Now 55s. Here comes the $0.50 on XNDU, bleeding its own blood to the downside. Definitely interested in this one, but it needs to settle down. Now, I gotta be realistic. Look at the movement on this one to the downside. So I'm not saying it's gonna move like equally to the upside, but I gotta be ready for those type of flushes should I decide to get long, because this one has shown it's part of its characteristic is to kind of flush away. pretty quickly here. So back into the 80s we go, showing 90s on the ask, 80s on the bid. Let's see if this one can kind of put in a bottoming tail candle, Joey. I might be interested in punching.
Yeah, for sure, guys. I'm not. Jesse, I would never ever mislead you ever. There was a big volatility. Well, I shouldn't say big. There was somewhat of a volatility spike here moments ago. You can see that the SPY, flushed through the volume-weighted average price. Now starting to find somewhat of a rebound. The NASDAQ holding VWAP relatively well. So, I mean, let's see where we go from here. We're heading into that level that we were talking about on Tesla. I don't see anything from the lower time frame as we get into a little bit more detail for us to find somewhat of a bounce. But what we can start doing is drawing our trend lines for potential breaks. If the market's going to continue to climb, then we may as well try to rock and roll with it. NVDA and Apple are on fire today, and go with the flow. You've had those pullbacks. You've had multiple tests of VWAP, and we climb up into 214. I thought that we would hit that all-time high here relatively sooner than what we're doing, but I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the session. Tomorrow, even Friday, new all-time high, and definitely gap up on Monday. That will definitely help. All right, guys, let's send it over to Adair for crypto.
I'll start here with some headlines that we've had coming in over the last couple minutes. We know I mentioned a couple minutes ago that CNN headline suggesting that Iran has imposed new rules for Strait of Hormuz passage. Apparently, one of these rules is that these vessels must complete an application in order to pass safely. Now we also have comments coming from a senior Iranian official by the name of Mohsen Rezai saying that Tehran will not be accepting any U.S. plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz unless there are reparations for war damage included. These are their words. Basically, they're rejecting Washington's proposal. This comes a couple minutes after we heard they hadn't made a decision yet. So it sounds like Iran, or at least certain factions of Iran, is rejecting the U.S. proposal to end the conflict and also, again, reportedly imposing new rules for passage through the strait. Let's talk about Coinbase, because a certain bald man will be reporting earnings tonight after the bell. This is Coinbase, COIN, 4:10 p.m. is when we're expecting this earnings report. Revenue here, 1.5 bill, EPS 36 cents per share. Now, they actually had declines on a year-over-year basis for their transaction revenue last quarter to the tune of 37%. Revenue also missed last quarter as a whole, so COIN certainly going to be on watch. Also on watch here is Bitcoin, which is still trucking along here on the daily chart, continuing to make these higher highs and higher lows to the upside. Yesterday, we had that touch and then failed to break above the 83,000 level. High of day yesterday coming in at 82.8, and then we close here at 81. So a bit of a topping tail candle. As of right now, we are red, but again, wider term trend line is still to the upside for BTC. Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. All right, ACVA is getting into local area highs. I'm looking, there we go, Joey. We just got 2R on ACVA. Looking for continuation now on ACVA. What do we got, Neil?
Me strutting.
Bring it in, Neil.
Strutting.
Neil's got the lunch.
Wrap. Oh, I thought that was pickled onion. I was gonna start.
Is this the
freak
food?
out. Yeah, that's the food.
Oh, is that a burrito?
Yeah, oh, we got the chutney right there too.
The chutney was good.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. So did you eat the lasagna?
Yeah.
You ate it, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. I passed it off to a friend. Let's just go with that.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Eat too many carbohydrates?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
There was a good amount of ground beef.
Not enough ground beef.
There was okay, but
Okay.
you know, it is cutting season now.
Is it ever?
Season.
Yeah,
and we're not taking Retta, so we can't rely on somebody else to do the work for us.
Yeah,
so we're gonna have to
that'd be nice if we could ever rely. You know what my grandparents used to say: if you want something done, do it yourself. Yeah, exactly. All right, there's a couple things that I want to touch on here, guys. Someone asked over there on Cheezers Live. What was it? Okay, so on TikTok, there was a good question. Why isn't the SPY climbing towards the high of the day? Why is it kind of lagging what we have going on in the NASDAQ? Well, the first thing I do is look at its second heaviest weighted sector, and that's going to be the financials. JPM has not been performing well today, and I didn't go through any of the other banks, considering I bought a little bit more JPM yesterday. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, nice. We're going to get in a good spot. Let's head over to the daily. I'll show you where I purchased some. Right around this neck of the woods, right around the open, 311, and then boom, flushes a little bit lower. So JPM not being him today, still down about 7 or 8% off of those highs. Yeah, 7.7% to be exact. How's Morgan Stanley been here today off of those highs? Goldman Sachs Still, and I mean, JPM's been lagging. Watch this name play catch up, and then sure enough, it's going to be off the list. But you can see that the financial sector relatively weak here, guys. You have the bounce off of VWAP here in the NASDAQ, but you have the move lower of the volume-weighted average price on the SPY. With that being said, we do have a trend line break on Tesla. This could be a good opportunity for us to engage and maybe find somewhat of a recovery, just due to the fact that we have the technical breakout. Right, like we had the technical breakout on the daily, and then now we're on the backside of this trend. We can draw a couple more trend lines, use that for our gauge to get out, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we go small size, and we just lock onto the profits that we got from our NVDL trade earlier this morning. I love it when the first one works out for you, and it just makes everything smooth sailing, and then you throw on the fire playlist, you have the boys around you getting all excited, just good environment altogether when there's too much winning going on here today. Too much winning. Wait for the double bottom, Joe, on Tesla. Yeah, we can. I'm going to be more patient. I'm in no rush to get into it, but I think a good re-engagement would be NVDL if it works once. Probably will work again, and you know what they typically say, third time.
What'd they say, Joey?
Third time's a charm. Oh, okay, quick story before we send it off to Sharif. Had the narc on the guy in my spot, man. I'm not happy about it.
Good. What do you mean not?
Had the narc on him, man.
Dude, let me just tell you something, bro.
Yeah.
If there was somebody parked in your condo, right?
For 3 days, yeah.
Yeah. If someone was parked in my spot
for 3 days, I left 2 notes.
I don't even know what kind of hell I would raise. Besides, that almost never happens at my condo because the dinosaurs that live there are retired. And so their goal in life is to create rules in the condo and then enforce those irrational rules.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of the goal of their life now. They've got free time, Joey. So that usually never happens. Nothing untoward happens.
I'm all about less regulation. I know a tow guy. All right, cool.
That's fair.
Seriously, hook me up. I'm not there. I have to be there. But if you know a tow guy, Ramin, tell him to follow me after work. We'll pick the car up. It's unfortunate that's a BMW driver. But hey, man, gave the guy multiple opportunities to get out of there. But listen, I was in the middle of
2 more opportunities than I would have given him, bro.
Exactly. So I'm literally in the middle of a hockey game, and someone's yelling, "They're towing a white BMW." I'm in the middle of the game on the bench, so I had to run into the dressing room, take my skates off, run towards the tow truck driver who already had it on the hitch, and I'm like, "Dude, come on, I'm right here. Cut me a break." $300.
$300 to get it down.
Just to get it down. Wasn't even gone yet.
That would have been a fight.
Yeah, but there's nothing you can do, man.
I know.
It's $700 to go and pick it up. Obviously, it's like you would love to chuck knuckles, but that's not necessarily the case.
Chuck knuckles. I love the expressions. Yes,
you
sir.
see, oh no, you probably didn't see this, but the UFC fighters who are fighting at the White House card were at the White House.
I saw.
With Donald.
Yeah, and he's like, yo, his hand is huge.
Whoa, that's what he does.
So funny. President Trump, man, he just off the cuff, you never know what the hell he's going to say, right? Like, and, you know, there's some people that get embarrassed. You know, I have a feeling he doesn't have that gene. Where, you know, things you say, they may come off the wrong way, they embarrass you a little bit. Nothing embarrasses this guy.
No, I think once you hit X amount of money, like you have in the bank account, then you just don't get him because you don't care.
That's actually a good point.
You know what I mean? And so it's like as soon as you hit that threshold, it's like, I'll do whatever I please.
People are asking about Qualcomm as well as they should be because I'm going to bring in my semis list over here, Assassino. And this is right here. That's where it starts semis. As you can see, it's a sea of red. And that's not because semis are not in vogue. They are. Just take a look at the year-to-date right corner, right column right there. That's not the point. The point is they were extremely strong yesterday. So looks like there is some profit taking today. Could be maybe a little bit of sell aggression here on ARM, their guide. I don't know. I wouldn't really want to categorize ARM as the leading microchip name that would cause this. But aggressive moves. But Qualcomm definitely standing out over here. 12% for Qualcomm. Now, we've seen Qualcomm, you know, do quite well lately with a bunch of different deals. Let's see exactly what the TA here is on Qualcomm. Bring it in. Not, you know, I'm not really this type of trader, but we're gonna have a look at it anyway. Let's look at the 15 because there's really nothing to look at here. Okay, so we're definitely at local area highs. We need to go a lot farther out. 4 hour. Okay, so we've breached that 185 technical level. We are free and clear, so we're gonna need to go to the daily. All right, so let's just be honest about it. The only level we're really looking here, only couple of levels, pardon me, that we're looking at is 220 and that takes us all the way back into an area top on the 28th of May of 2024. So we're talking about 2 years, guys. And then we have what I perceive to be a gnarly looking head and shoulders that led to an aggressive sell-off, and we saw this one sell off for a while. So this head and shoulders pattern ended up topping up at 230. Now, the only part that we need to concern ourselves with, given that we're trading at 215 right now, is this left shoulder from, again, back in the 28th of May of 24. We need to get above 220, and then clean above 220, we're looking at 230. We can get above that. We are $15 on QCOM from all-time highs. Let me just double check that. That is all-time highs. I'm going to flip to the weekly. Yes, so those would be all-time highs. So good look here for Qualcomm, man. I would say you're looking possibly into a move into 220. You may not get that today, but perhaps by the end of the week. And then if you do clear 220, you're looking at, is this thing at 217? I was just talking about it at 215. This thing's ripping, Joey. Let's pull up all the way to the end over here. Sorry, let me just go all the way. All the way up. Sorry, I don't know why it's not letting me go all the way. Sorry, guys, I have to reset the chart, but essentially, we are trading at around 215, right? 217. I can't get there. What day is this? This is still April. Okay, so I'm going to have to reset this chart. But I just want to concentrate on this trade here. I'll get to Qualcomm in a second, but I'm keeping an eye here on ACVA. It feels like it might be getting a little bit top heavy. 664 area high. We're still south of that 670, and that was my goal, to at least get back into the day's high. So I think I might have a trailing stop just south of the $0.50. That'll put about a 5 penny risk because we're in at 654. But if this one keeps chugging along and takes out prior bar high, which is 664, we're going to hold, obviously. A couple other things that I wanted to mention. RXT got stopped out of that, but I feel like this one may be changing its tune just a bit. I was earmarking that 420 level as an area of support. Now, it did breach it by a couple of shekels with a 406 low, but here it is again at 420. So if we can clear 420, perhaps even into 430, I'm going to take another shot here at RXT. We'll see how this cookie crumbles. XNDU, not looking good, guys. Not looking good. In fact, this is looking quite bearish, looking flat bottom breakish through about 17 2/3 to 17.5. It is basically an unbroken lower high chain ever since putting in that day high at 1120, 1125 bar lower high. You guys get it, 1135 bar lower high, lower high, lower high. And we're just, what's holding on here is 17.5. There could be a buy zone, I want to say from 17.5 to 17.25. Couple of reasons for that. First and foremost, look at these closing prints here between 1025 and 1045. All of them, for the exception of the 1045 candle, south of 17.25. That's number one. But look at where the wicks go, 17.5. Now, let's look at the current action. Look where VWAP is, right around 715. So about 10 pennies shy of that 17.25 area resistance. Let's see how this one comes down. If it ends up holding up there, it'll be game. But there goes RPGL into an area high, into 233. It is now ripping up with a flat top break, having been broken at 220. This one's on its horse and could be on the way to the $0.50, if not more. RPGL is up a very respectable percentage on the day to the tune of 73%. $2 name. If you're small cap gapper inclined, this is what we look for here. Cheap, parabolic, and respectful of trend. Look, nary a breach on the 10 EMA on the 5. So we're going to have to give this one a more thorough look here, Joey.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, good stuff, Zion. Yeah, I'm looking at it. There goes Tesla, so nice work. There was a nice 5-minute indecision print around those lows. Not quite at the support level that we were talking about not too long ago at 406.60, but that's a nice bounce. So I'm going to wait for an additional pullback here, Zion, to see if we can get this rocking and rolling. I mean, we have this trend line break right within the secondary, and then we're looking at this minor trend right here, still holding up. If we can get a pullback up into 1430 maybe, or a retest of 1435, and we start to bounce off of that level, I think it can be a good opportunity to get involved with it. The bull flag, the price action is pretty choppy if you ask me. Outside of the initial drive, it was up, down, it was up, down, it was up, down, and around. But if the market wants to scream like it is and have NVDA go and test that high of the day, maybe we'll see somewhat of a rotation into this name. I know a lot of people were talking about Apple. Katina Man had that one here this morning.
Yo, QCOM just ripped from 214 when we were talking. It is now at 222.
Holy
it just took out that 220 area high we were talking about.
Yeah. That 206 pivot.
Qualcomm is ripping.
Qualcomm is on fire right now. I mean, holy cow, you could throw a dart at some of these AI trades and you'd hit a banger on the head.
My days.
Yeah, my days is right, man. It's really moving now. 221 up substantially here this morning. We'll take a look at it from a 5-minute. I know Shreve was just going on about it. Holy cow, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, like 40 minutes of just straight
It's
buying.
just straight up,
Straight
man.
from the morning, too. There's 2 red 5-minute candles. I know that you guys can see on my other screen there, obviously being sarcastic. But look at this. Since 10 o'clock, you have 2 red candles. Off to the races it goes. And then look at the volume really start to uptick too. So that's supporting this move here. This is big time stuff. And we talked about Qualcomm quite often, just like, hey man, we don't like that we're in this massive consolidative zone. And then now off to the races it goes, and it's breaking out big time, heading towards that 228 pivot. At this pace, I wouldn't be surprised if it heads there sooner rather than later.
It's going to 230.
Yeah, it's going to 230 probably today. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I'm not saying chase it or anything, so just be patient. I'm waiting for my pullback in Tesla. Shreve, yo, what's up, Adam? Yeah, what's up, brother? How's Cypress going over there? Long cap gapper says MF dangerous connection. Okay, well, Jesse, you're at the beach, man. What else do you expect? You guys must be living some good lives. Ozan over there, Adam and James abroad, always at the, he's somewhere, never home really, so he's a digital nomad certified. And then we also have some other individuals who's like, yeah, I'm at the beach right now, I'm doing this, I'm doing all that. So congratulations to all of you, and yeah, and living the lifestyle that you want to. But aside from that, guys, let's head back over to our watch list. We talked about CrowdStrike, we talked about JPM, some of the staple names. Walmart, how has that been performing here today? Just to get away from the chip, I know it's the hot thing right now, but we are still a couple of dollars off of that previous all-time high of 335, and you're probably seeing a rotation, 4%, out of some of the staple and the more protected names, and it's like risk on. Let's get involved in this chip trade. Let's get into some of the larger participants who are just continuing to climb higher, and it's like it feels like there's no force that can stop them. But see, the thing is, though, Sharif, you go up too far too fast, sometimes the market will find something in order for it to sell off a little bit. Our girl Ava Ados is on top news right now, just in case you're curious.
Who's that, Joey?
Ava?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Which one? Which screen? Top or bottom?
The bottom one where Assassino's pointing.
Ah.
Yeah, Ava.
We know her?
No.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
I do.
Like, what's going on, Joey? Lego, is somebody here? All right, guys. I see it. I jinxed Qualcomm because now it's coming down.
Selling, eh?
Yeah, it's selling quite aggressively here, Joey. 223.66 high, coming back in, 216. 20 EMA on the 5. You know, I don't trade these bad boys, but 216 generally is the 10 EMA on the 5. So we're gonna keep a close eye here on the Qualcomm that is up a very respectable now. 12 2/3%. Joey.
Yes, sir.
Don't look.
I'm not looking.
Market cap of Qualcomm.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to say 420 billion.
Bro. Well, you went 420.
Well, no, I didn't do that intentionally.
Go half.
220 billion.
228. Hey, okay.
Well, I mean, you kind of gave it to me there, so.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit more than that, but yeah.
Did you tell Katina, man? I don't know if you weren't listening or anything. No longer. I know you were excited about this. I had 50 cents in the long term as for cash. We've upped it now to 1.5%, so we added a little bit more cash, just because, right?
You need a little bit of cash, brother, because if something goes on sale, you need to be able to deploy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fully allocated, though, man.
I get that. I respect that. It's a great time to be fully allocated. Everything's ripping. I'm not trying to question your judgment. Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, you never know when things are going to go on sale.
It's questionable.
Right? It's questionable. 100 million trillion, says Ozan. My man, Ozan. Bovin, Gemex is moving up. Bovin, I love how you love these low liquidity names, but hey, man, you trade them well, so I'm not going to speak any sort of nonsense about that. But GMEX, pardon me, is moving here, and this is what Bovin's been calling out. And look, it's a respectable move, man. Closed out at $1.91 yesterday. Now you're looking like you're weaseling into about a 240 high. We're going to put GMEX here on the side chart, up 25% or thereabouts. But look, Bovin, this is not bad. I'd like to see it hold up above the $0.25. We'll have to see how this one ends up doing. But a little light for my blood here when it comes to volume. But I'm very interested to see where Qualcomm is going to find a bottom here. Not that, you know, we're going to commit to executing any trades on it, but I don't mind seeing what kind of pullback here. It looks like the shorts are in control, though, because we just lost a 20 EMA on the 5. On the 1, no, though, that's the 1. Let me flip back here. I wasn't looking at the right levels, Joey. All right, so I was completely off on that. Prior bar low. Prior bar low, 215.02. We are losing that. We're losing it in a hurry. It looks like we're going to come back down into 210 here. 210, there could be some support there as there was a bit of a resistance level at 210. But Qualcomm almost making all-time highs. It needs to breach that 220. Got up to, 230. Got up to about exactly 223.66 on Qualcomm. Let's see what this one does at 210. I've moved up my stop on ACVA to just immediately below the $0.50. So if this loses the $0.50, if the buyers don't start stepping in and using the $0.50 as an area of support, we're going to be out, but we're going to be profitable on it. So we'll look to execute again. Should it be the right thing to do? But now I need to start looking at RPGL, and I need to start basing my trades on RPGL onto the 10 EMA on the 5, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to go ahead here, RPGL. We're looking for, let's just go 214 on that. And I'm going to work my way into RPGL, by the way, because this one, I don't really want to get into full position right away. I want to be able to give myself the opportunity to get something closer to the 10 EMA on the 5, which I believe are the money fills. Ooh. So we're going to go ahead. We are punched in there. We got 225, and I'm going to be looking to defend into the 10 EMA, which is currently at 216. So that's what I'm looking at. Joey, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat here. Blicky Spears, the new hot name. Katina man likes that one. Let's pull up some of the options chain activity here, guys. We were talking about NVDA here earlier this morning, and you can see the supply really starting to uptick, but this is going to be expiring tomorrow, okay, after the bell. 51.2%. We were talking about a 225 call that was going to be expiring on June 18th. Let's pull this back up one more time and see what we have going on. Now, $8.40. Like, are you actually, like, get out of here? So,
get him, Joey.
So if you rewind back to earlier this morning, approximately 8:20, 8:21, you'll see that I started to talk about it, and we were sitting around $6.33 this morning on this specific contract before the open. So, yeah, no problem. So before the open, you could have got this at a literally 30% or 30%, yeah, essentially cheaper than what it is, a high of $9 almost on this thing. So this is a big time run already, guys. Like, holy smokes, in this specific contract. And this is what I want to see leading into the report is strength and not the underlying asset actually selling off. So that gives me a little bit more conviction. Does that mean that it's going to rip or do whatever like some of the other names have been? No, absolutely not. But it increases our probabilities, in my opinion. So we're going to remain with this strategy. I'm not going to be buying any form of protection. We'll let it rock and roll. Why? Because implied volatility is still slightly low. It hasn't been completely priced in right now. We'll take a look at the expected move later. It doesn't report until the 20th, but that's what I'm thinking. We have that rotation. Some of the other chip names, I mean, like we look at SanDisk going absolutely parabolic, AMD climbing up to $340 or whatever it was, just an insane number. And then we also have NVDA, who, like, it's been moving, but it hasn't had that strong, aggressive move. And I think at some point, probably by the middle of the summer, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about NVDA at $250. That's what I'm thinking. I added some more in my long term, and I actually bought shares in my swing, and I'm going to buy the contracts. So, yeah, man, we're fully involved with this stuff. I did miss out on some of the DRAM names, but hey, man, can't catch them all. My name's not Ash, and I'm happy with where we're sitting. Netflix and Meta are actually some of my worst performing names. Netflix, Meta, and Robinhood. Not performing well, but some of the other ones have been performing pretty good. Iran's parliament national security official, no uranium has left Iran. ISNA. Yeah, that's what I don't have any trades. Tesla is starting to come back in. We talked about waiting Zion, waiting for that pullback here. Now let's see if we can hold up around 14.25. But I'm getting the hunch that we might break down. We have a shelf starting to be formed and might want to absorb some more liquidity. Head into that 406 level that we were referring to not too long ago. Heads into that neck of the woods, then I think we'll be able to engage. Or we just stick with the names that are strong, and that's NVDA. Wait for a pullback one more time, and then engage.
basically an unbroken sell here on Qualcomm. It's coming pretty close to that 210 level. So I want to see what Qualcomm does in and around this level. I feel like it's 211-ish. But, you know, when you're close to that $10 level, it should be interesting. RXT going says Texas Jet Fan. RTX, that was the first one that I actually put on. Yes, it is. Good call. Here it is. Now, my only concern is that this is a lower high that lures us in. Let's continue to watch here. Okay, 462 high, but you absolutely are accurate about this. But we've talked about these setups before, especially the ones that, you know, make a very prolonged pullback after an area high. Now, this over here, you could look at it for a couple of reasons. You could look at it as short covering, causing this one to spike, or it's a bull trap, right? Where you're looking for the end of the downtrend. All the bulls are looking for it. It's up 89%. It's probably on everybody's scanner. It makes that new area high, and a pretty parabolic one at that, from 410 right into 430 in a couple of 1-minute candles. And then sometimes it makes a lower low. Now, if it makes that lower low, I'm looking at 410. That could be a good flat bottom break and a possible loss of that level. So keep your eye out on RXT. I'm going to look at it from both ways, Katina, man. If it wants to make a move into 450, we'll look at it as a long trade. If it wants to kind of make that lower high, fail 410, we'll look at it as a short trade. Right now, there's a seller of note right around 430. You can kind of see no size posted on the gateway. That tells you right away that there's a hidden order, but he just got clipped, right? Well, it went to 431, but down back into 30. Keep your eye on this one. Not a bad look here for RXT, Joey.
Good stuff. What do you think about FCX? Let's pull it up. Not FTX. We don't want to talk about that. No, Freeport, eh? Okay, Freeport, McMoran. Let's see. Let's pull it up here. Let's take a look at some of the daily. See what we got going on. Okay, I mean, this isn't horrible, right? Like from November of last year, you get 83%. You're starting to bounce off of these lows. I mean, yeah, it's not a horrible stock, that's for sure. Obviously, if you're looking to trade it intraday, you're going to run into some liquidity issues here. This is just something that we don't often talk about. You get into the lower time frames, and you can see outside of the open, that first hour, hour and a half, not too bad from liquidity standpoint, but then it just really starts to fall off a cliff. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's not a horrible play. Yeah, copper play for sure. Yeah, but I mean, what else do you guys got going on? Put some names. USO is creeping higher. Yeah, I haven't looked at that in throughout the day. Yeah, USO onto, climbing higher. Yeah, that's not good for equities right now, guys. I think with the NASDAQ and the SPY, you can see we're slowly starting to creep a little bit lower. USO moving to the top side, putting in a new high of the day. Outside of the pre-market, that is. So pre-market session high is around 132.62. At this pace, I wouldn't be surprised if we head over there and start to test these levels and start to fill this downside gap from a daily. Yeah, a big move off of the highs, right? So you're down like 20 bucks. That's 13%, not so bad. Heard you and Breno talking about, or Breno was talking about how they're investigating into some of that oil trade. Somebody just put in a bunch of like 500 million 15 minutes before the news was released, which is
I mean, it's frustrating.
Are you surprised?
Right? Am I surprised? No. If you're asking about like that stuff happens all the time, right? But it's just so blatant. And the fact that they did it all through one trade rather than, you know, mixing it up, a million here,
sweeping the markets essentially.
Right? Multiple brokerages accounts.
That's like gutsy, man.
Think about it. I mean, like, why would you be so obvious to make it so concentrated, right?
Right. Yeah, I know.
I don't know. It's not like I'm an expert at insider trading. I don't insider trade because I don't have any insiders to give me any information.
You don't have any insiders.
Right? But in any event, that's kind of the situation.
Let's see what this name's up to.
Joey, I'm watching ACVA here for a possible pullback. We're going to get to see if this one holds at VWAP or not, but I want to mention Qualcomm. Gaurav, the OG, was telling me in the chat, sorry, Gaurav, I didn't get a chance to respond, but I think you're absolutely accurate. Look at Qualcomm. This is insane. No. From 223.66 down into 207. The thing is, the volume weighted average price is a throw stone away from where we're trading right now. 205 and a third. We're showing 207 and 2/3. So this one could be a VWAP hold here. We'll see what Qualcomm wants to do, but if it wants to come back in, hold that 205, we'll might give it a try. Who knows? Who knows? Well, we'll watch. We'll see if there is a trade to be had there or what the situation is. Back to RPGL. Keeping a close eye on this one, but RXT is also making a move here. For those who are watching and looking for another move into the $0.5 to 2/3 of a dollar, I just want to point out that same 30 seller that I was speaking about, 5-6 minutes ago, still there. So watch out, please, for the lower high here. I'm not saying it's going to manifest into a lower high. Be on the lookout for a possible lower high here. Now, you may not be in the strict sense that where it rejects at 30, but in and around that area. It's popping up here in the 35, right back down into 31. Let's see how this cookie ends up crumbling. But RPGL is disappointing me because it's been holding the 10 EMA on the 5 literally all day. Literally, from 9:40 this morning, it hasn't breached, and now it is right back into that level, so we're not going to give it too much longer. Right below 210 we go, and then it ends the trade there. Just a couple of things here. Learning to trade, saying ATRA coming back into play. Did. It rejected right around 840 though, learning to trade. So I'd like to see if it holds at 8. It looks like it's at 810 or so at the moment. Be on the lookout for that. And then ELPW, he says nice trend. So shout out to Learning to Trade. Thank you for pointing that out. ELPW, just a quick look at that. Well, it's taking forever to load, so we'll have to let that one go. When we come back, maybe we can have a look at it. So for now, Joey and I, we're going to pause for a second. We're going to send it to Adair for happening now at the big desk. Then Neil's going to have his lesson of the day.
Here's the S&P 500 trying to hold on to the intraday low. And as of right now, actually bouncing off of it. We'll take a look here at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ still above its intraday low. So slight difference here in terms of where these names are on the chart, but both of them falling pretty sharply from highs, both the NASDAQ and the SPY. We did get some comments from Fed's Hammock earlier, as we could expect. They are a little bit hawkish, and she's going to speak again at 2:05 p.m. For that, we'll get comments from Fed's Daily at 12:30 and Fed's Kashkari at 1. USO does remain on watch, guys. Most recently in oil, I had some comments a couple minutes ago now from the CEO of Shell, who's been speaking throughout the morning. Shell CEO saying that they believe energy prices will likely stay strong and bullish for the next 6 to 12 months. USO also pushing higher as we get comments from Iran Secretary of the National Security Commission denying claims that the U.S. made, I guess, saying that uranium has left Iran. Iran saying that, no, we have not had any uranium leave the country. I get lots of reports here in Iran. Just stay with us, guys. We'll keep you posted. President Trump was also supposed to meet up with Lula of Brazil. I have those streams open. Looks like this hasn't started yet. This was supposed to start at 11:15. Once it does start, I'll keep you posted. But Qualcomm here, nice bounce. I want to pull up Qualcomm and Micron because we have a lot of these names in that chip and also memory space just moving in really violent parabolic ways. No news on either of these that I could see, but interesting look there. And tons of earnings after the bell, including Open Door. You'll also get Coinbase, MP, TTD, DraftKings, so many earnings. We will keep you posted with all of those. But for now, we're going to keep you posted with Neil's lesson of the day.
The lesson of the day is, you know what, oddly enough, I was already going to do a certain thing, and then something that Sean's up to right now was along the lines of that lesson, because, you know, getting tickets online to any concert is incredibly difficult. Everybody knows it can be frustrating. You log in and everyone tries to get in at the same time and you're 18,468 in line. But you know what? If you don't try, your chance of getting it is 0. So that's what it's all about. And you keep, eventually maybe you get that one and it's worth it. And I was looking at the IPOs recently, and there's been a few times in the last few months where I'll look back at one of those IPOs. I'm like, it wasn't perfect, but I should have taken it, maybe just take it with a little bit less size. I'm going to change the approach, which is almost every time it's in a sector that I remotely like and I think it's executable, even if it's a little bit less liquid, just still take the trade, take it for less shares. And if at worst, you're getting reps in for the ones that are going to be big, and you're keeping fresh with that execution. Because at some point, what's going to happen is SpaceX is going to come around, there's going to be crazy liquidity vacuum, and I don't want to be in a position where I haven't taken an IPO open in 3 months, and then all of a sudden you got to execute on SpaceX. And I'm really just talking about this Hawk, and I can quickly show you, like, Hawk, 1.5 paired volume, slight sell imbalance. I mean, it's indicating a 34 open when it's a 26 issue, so there is some interest in it, but it's not all that big. it's not as if it stands out. But you know what? Size is a little bit down. And even if I don't take the opening print, then maybe I let it open and try that long if I see a bid come in. But it's just about being attentive to it and taking the shot at it. And whether it works or not, the worst case scenario is that I get some good reps on what's been a positive strategy as opposed to just sitting it out. It can't just always be, oh, well, this one is perfect, so I'm taking it for full size. Oh, this one isn't, so I'm not trading at all. It's not so binary. You've got to be able to take your shots at things. And I just kind of got a little bit tired of, oh, this one looked pretty good and I didn't get it. It's one thing if I'm away from my desk because it opens way too early. That happened the one that you were gone, Sean. Like it opened up, we're so used to 11 o'clock. You get up, we finish the morning show, you grab your lunch, whatever. Even if there's an IPO, it doesn't open until 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then there was one that opened at like 11:05. Of course, it's like right when I'm getting up to go to the bathroom. I can live with that. At least I wanted to get it, and you just happened to miss. That's fine. But not trying it, not getting the order out, not being prepared to take the reps, just because you're going to take it for a tenth of the risk or whatever it might be, doesn't mean it's not worth the mental rest. You've got to at least try. Chip in a chair is all that really matters. As the market absolutely tanks. Oh yeah, this is where I usually tell you how it went. This time I have completely. You guys already saw. I showed you guys in front of Sharif and Joe. They were absolutely delicious. Those tacos, fire. I mean, it had everything. You got the multiple toppings and the salsa. This was, I didn't, the first time we ever had tacos here, I missed them, but I can confidently say by far the best tacos we have ever had on this trading floor for myself. So I'm giving it a solid 9.1 out of 10 for the tacos. And I don't even, if Joe wants to hate on them, fair enough. But that's delicious, bro. It's delicious. That's the lesson of the day. Enjoy
and
your
they're
tacos.
soft shell, so we love that here.
Actually, that's even more important because Daryl wanted soft shell. We got the soft shell. They're delicious. Hopefully the IPO goes well, but if it loses, it loses. I can live with that. Let's go back to some RPLG. Sharif's long at one of my favorite prices, $222. Who knew?
I mean, that's not true at all. Tacit spider. Come on, man. All right. Yeah, thanks, Neil and Nadira, for that. 9.4. We'll dock that one down. We'll see how we got going on. Other than that, guys, the NASDAQ is really starting to sell. With that being said, USO moving higher here on today's session. So USO really starting to uptick. Yeah, really starting to uptick, heading towards that level we were talking about not too long ago. Let's send things over to Adara and see what she has. USO up, NASDAQ down.
Okay.
Just be aware here, guys. I mentioned a couple of these headlines here that were more recent during the Happening Now segment. We did have, of course, the CEO of Shell saying that they see energy prices bullish within the next 6 to 12 months. But I'm now seeing another report from Washington Post suggesting that Iran is set up a new agency to screen and tax ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This report also says that Iran is still reviewing the U.S. peace plan. I know we heard earlier reports saying that Iran had actually rejected the peace plan, so stay tuned here. But either way, USO to the upside, couple different oil and geopolitical related headlines. If I see anything brand new, I will keep you guys posted. But again, I'm now seeing comments, I guess, from the Parliament's National Security Commission, not sure what country's parliament, but Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil and gas passes, is now under the exclusive supervision of the Islamic Republic. So it looks like we have Iran claiming exclusive control and supervision of the strait. Back to you.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, we have the market selling. We've been going over that. I know people are like, why is the sky falling? Well, it's the sky falling. I mean, it broke through some support levels. The NASDAQ lagging here. You can see the SPY starting to accelerate a little bit quicker. But if this support level gives in the overall market, watch out for some more potential downside and a continuation. I'm looking at Tesla at the level that we were talking about not too long ago, which we're currently sitting at right now, 406.50. Are we going to find somewhat of a bounce? There might be a good opportunity here, especially if the overall market decides that it wants to participate. The issue being USO up. I hate's a very
Get it,
strong,
Joey.
very strong word. I dislike, you got Hawk there? Okay, I dislike that USO is moving higher and the NASDAQ. So it's just really tough to go against this and buy some of the tech names when you have that inverse correlation in full effect right now.
There goes ATRA through the $0.50. What do we get? We got 47s. Best print so far, 69er. We're looking for a move back into 895. So we breached that prior area high, which I believe was mid-40s. Now what's keeping us down is the possible flat top here around $9. It's essentially 895. That's the high of the day. A couple of times it's been touched. So we'll see what the situation with that is. There it goes, Joey, into the 70s, looking for a little bit more now. So no continuation through that area. We're going to go ahead and we're going to post because we're old and we're slow. I'm just speaking about myself. All right. So I'm looking for this one to generally hold prior bar low because we opened up a new bar. So 822 is prior bar low. I'm going to ride trend with this one. So if it doesn't breach a prior bar, we're going to continue to hold on. But if it does, we're out, right? In the same way now that I got to get out of RPGL because it is failing the 10 EMA on the 5, so we will give some back on RPGL. Kind of sucks, but that's the way trading is. It loses the 10 EMA on the 5 for the first time on the day. So if it wants to kind of reset a little bit, we'll get involved. But for now, going to have to keep a close eye on ATRA. Nice move up here, no continuation. Buying here generally at around the $0.50. Let's see if the buyer steps in. Initially, it was an area of resistance. Now, this could be the buy area. And my observation initially was there was a buyer of note at around 45, 44, 45. Here we are right back at that level. We're holding up generally, but we're wicking below it. So a bit of a sell area now on ATRA. There we go into the 30s, and now we are at the money on ATRA. I'm looking for prior bar to hold. 822, that is prior bar low. If it holds, I'll add because then I'll know that trend is continuing. If it doesn't hold, then I'm out. Simple as that. We'll give back a little bit there. But we took some profits at the top, about half the position out. But I want to see if it does hold up here. I don't want to get into an area where I'm just like adding willy-nilly because you never really know where anything is going to bottom out. But if I start seeing a big buyer on the level 2, on the way down that we can't seem to shake as a short, then I'll get involved with this one. But for the moment, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of buying come in. So we're going to pack the patience, see if we either get stopped out or we ride back above the $0.50. We're going to Adair.
Keep an eye here on CRM and ADSK. Michael Burry announcing that he sold his shares in both companies, so selling both positions. This is, I guess, the third now, if you combine these two position sales since earlier this week when he announced he sold GME. So again, Autodesk and CRM, neither of which are moving too much, just got sold by Michael Burry. Back to you.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, yeah, right on, man. Let's find something as the market is continuing to slide here. I mean, it's going to be tough to, I don't want to just continuously beat this over and over again, but trying to catch a bottom at this point, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. You have to be extremely patient, cue a couple headlines and some truths to come out, and then maybe we'll start to find some volatility spikes step into the market, and then off to the race we go. Zion, this is what I was saying, hey, I'm waiting for this pullback, and levels that we were looking for didn't hold and are not currently holding. So falling knife, I think we can put it in that realm as the overall market is just really, really moving.
Get it, Katina, man.
I don't
know. He's printing on something. Probably Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. Sure. All right, man. Yeah, so a nice short off of the volume-weighted average price. I'm going to guess Katina Man's price, $273.65. 76. Oh, 10 cents off. No, that's all right. But IBIT looking like a short. Yeah, everything is looking like a short right now. We were talking about that. The only one name that I'm looking at that is holding above you up is NVDA, the one that we had the trade on here earlier today, NVDL.
Get it, Joey.
Catching multiple dollars on that one, so not too bad of a play. Obviously, when it's a little bit smaller size leverage play here, boom, $100 all the way up to our last out being 104.45, so not too bad of a look. Sharif's rocking and rolling. Why does it seem market goes down at 12 p.m. every day? Ask Big Rudy Smasher.
I love that guy. Me?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Why does the market go down at 12 p.m.? I feel it starts selling off a little bit at 11. I don't know. You always hear, I hate to use this expression, but I know. Wow, Katina, man, look what happened to Atra. No, bro. Oh, I took it out at 9. What a dummy I am.
Damn.
Into 959 it goes. It's halted. 86% goes. ATRA I added, though, so I was kind of happy with this. We entered here. I told you guys if I saw a bottom on the pullback, I added the exact same amount we got into here, but I scalped up into 9. I should have left a piece for the dream. That is a mistake on my part. Oh. But anyway, ramping up is ATRA. Now, here's the deal. We're not going to let this one off the hook. How come? Because it took out that flat top, right? Come on, stop embarrassing me, bro. Oh. Like, why are you doing that for? I know, man. I'm glitching here.
Oh, man.
Why does it do that, Joe?
I don't know, man.
Embarrassing.
Because it knows
I'm trying to do the TA over here, and anyway, we can do it on the white chart, just not as clear. But there's a flat top, guys. Look at that, 8:10 high, 8 o'clock high, again 10:55, and then 12:10 brings the culmination of the flat top breakthrough 9, and now we are halted 9:59. So now we can start looking at $9-ish as your area support. So first and foremost, first and foremost, 12:14.06. So the earliest this will be open is 12:19.06. The price right now that it halted at 9:59, and the tap is $10. So the tap already looking good, Joey. Who can complain about that? So we're gonna keep a close eye on ATRA. ATRA seems to be him right now, and it's so long as ATRA is him, we're gonna try to take some longs on this one, Joey.
Okay.
But I'm not really liking any other stocks right now other than ATRA. Everything else on a bit of a pullback.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, sorry guys, I can't hit the stream deck as much as.
What do you need? I can do it.
Yeah, it just hit anything, man. I'm itching to hit the stream deck, hit my limit for the day over here.
Is this a self-imposed limit?
I just messing with everybody, man, because they're always telling me to hit these things, and I'm like, man, I got enforced the limit on my stream deck. Yeah, whoa.
Get him, Assassino.
Is that Katina Man? Oh, Katina Man.
Oh, bro.
I don't know anybody around here who's in Amazon or anything along those lines.
Nobody's taking Amazon shorts around here,
Amazon. No one's short Amazon from what are we here as it tanks and puts in a new low of the day. Boom, ride the bear. Hit that one there, Katina Man. NVDA there. Oh, okay, we'll go with that one. So what's going on with Broadcom here today as it's starting to sell? Everything is selling. Applied Materials to the downside. We were talking about this not too long ago. I mean, woohoo, look at Applied Materials. Oh man, the stock is crazy. I mean, over 100% from September of last year. 158%, 168%, some big time returns in a lot of these names. Ethereum down to, ETHA down to 17 bucks. It's not too bad with a high of around 35.97. I mean, we're on the backside of the trend, but the crypto space not performing, so you're still down 51%. That is so comical. MicroStrategy, I think they got some downgrades or something along those lines. Operating at a loss, though, the Bitcoin loss coming in a little bit heavier than expected. 61.5% to the downside off of that previous high of 463. I think it's going to take a long time for this name to recover, but it is slowly starting to, right? You get a 50% return off of the lows, 120, back up to 176, so not horrible whatsoever, but Coinbase continuously taking it on the chin. We thought we would get that technical breakout of that 215.66 marker. It's going to be the same thing as Tesla. Two different spaces, I understand that, but look at the resistance zone and the flat top break. You have that punch through. That's a trade that we can look to take advantage of, and that's what I'm going to be doing for Coinbase. They had layoffs as well, 14% of their workforce, which isn't anything crazy, but still people losing their jobs. Around, I think it was like 10 to 14% or so, nothing overly substantial, but $211.47 is going to be that level that I'm going to be looking to play a break on Coinbase stream.
VWAP buyers in and around, I don't want to say it's VWAP, but Qualcomm has a buyer at 207. And that's pretty clear there because there is 5 candles, pardon me, on the 5-minute chart that don't really breach that level. Let's take a quick look as we wait for ATRA to open up. This is what I'm talking about. Let's look at the 11:55 bar, 207.29 low. The 12 o'clock bar, 207.19 low. 12:05, 208.46, 12:10, 209.10, 12:15, 207 on the dot, and now it's showing 209.78. So that's a good news. Now we know there's a buyer there. But let's look at the resistance. Is there anything that we need to concern ourselves with that could prevent us from ascending? Well, the high of the 12 o'clock bar, 210.80, 1205, 210.85, 1210, 211, and current bar high 209.95. So I want to say 210 to 211. There does seem to be a seller on Qualcomm. So you are holding up at 207 on a very strict basis, but you're not exactly ascending. No, we got to go over here. Hawk is open. HAWK. This is an IPO. Bovin, it's open. The tap, I think it opened up at 33.50. The high is 34. Here comes 34. We're showing 33.95. HAWK on the NY. It was oversubscribed, opened at the higher end of the range, and then gapped up substantially. There's a seller at 95 here that we can't shake. Look at that. Nothing coming off the gateway right now. So there's, he just got killed. They killed him. $34 now, resistance at 34. That is the high of the day. Keep your eye on HAWK. Also, ATRA is open. ATRA gapping up quite aggressively into 1047. So this one halted at like 930 something. 1047 high. Look for 9 resistance, but don't forget, the gap levels are intraday areas of support and resistance. I'd say look for a holding of the gap fill, and that could be your buy area. We're going to Adara.
Hi here, guys, on the likes of Apple, ExxonMobil, and NVIDIA. Apparently, all these company CEOs are being invited to come with him to China. Now, we know Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg also already reportedly invited to come to China and actually will be traveling to China with President Trump. That was reported earlier by CNBC. But Semaphore now reporting that the likes of BlackRock CEOs, Qualcomm CEO, Citigroup CEO, Visa, NVIDIA, Apple, Exxon, they could all be coming to China. That's a lot of CEOs, guys. If I get more details, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. All right, watching ATRA here, looking for a general hold of 10. We're going to go long here. We're going to look for, we're going to give it a little room below 10, but we're going to see what we can get. Into 10, we got 1023. So if it doesn't hold 10, I'm Gonzino. Seller at 1020. This one could lose it pretty quickly. So be on the lookout here. Now you could get slippage. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the price action. Otherwise, use a stop that would basically get you out of trouble in some slippage. The general hold of 10. So we're not really ascending, but we're not losing 10, at least not yet anyway. I just got to keep my eye on this one and HAWK. Because I don't mind weaseling into that one as well. So it doesn't look like we're getting much in the way of buying right now on ATRA, so we will give back a little bit here if this one does stop out through the $10 area, down into 10.02. I just want to see if there's going to be buyers. Nope, we lose it there. So we do lose the level. Oh, right back above 10 we go. Let's keep a close eye on this one. Let's see if it holds above $10. Prior bar low, just to give you guys an idea, is 975. So look for the hold possibly of prior bar low. Here we go. There's definitely a buyer at 10 because we keep dropping below and moving right back above 10. So just trying to decide how I want to approach this trade. Yeah, there's definitely a buyer in and around 10 over here. It's just it doesn't hold it on a strict basis. That's the thing. Down below 10 we go on the bid, not so much on the ask though. Yeah, continuing to watch. Just want to see where the buyers are going to step in locally. Let me flip to the 5-second chart on the top screen over here. So we're still not at prior bar low. Recall 975 is prior bar low. So just looking to see where the buyers are stepping in. Yeah, it looks like the sellers are in control here because we keep dropping incrementally, not by a lot. 5 pennies, 3 pennies, but we are stair-stepping down. And I don't know what's going on with my platform, but nothing is loading in terms of the charts. There we go, finally. So keeping an eye here on the local trend on the 5-second for ATRA, trying to see when the trend switches up from lower highs and lower lows. Definitely looking for a hold at 975. We don't get that hold on 975, then I'll have to rethink this trade, or at least, you know, how I enter it at the current moment, Joey. So looking for another entry here on ATRA. If it can weasel back above 10 and show me some good volume with some good buyers backstopping on the bid. Otherwise, we're going to have to look to set up a little bit different. But that IPO is open, by the way. And Qualcomm is ripping again. Yeah, it held 207, and here is 213. Qualcomm is making the move, Joe.
All right, yeah, good stuff. Rashid asked a pretty good question. Hey, Joe, what are some possible strategies when you're in the money covered calls is most likely to be assigned? May 8th, 200 call is likely to be assigned. I mean, the thing is with that, you would have to roll them over, but I'm just thinking just considering we're so bullish and we're continuing to climb higher in the overall chip trade right now, I don't know if covered calls is the thing, but what you can do is just roll them at a higher strike price. You will have to realize the loss, so you'll roll it over at a higher strike price in a further expiration cycle. All right, so unfortunately you do have to accept a loss, but you can just close that and then write different contracts, say like the 250 as an example that I was using before, that expire in May, right? So those are going to be worth more. Let's actually pull those up right now and use that, or sorry, in June, and use that as our example. So we're already on that expiration cycle. This is going to be 42 days out. And what we had here was this $250 contract was worth $2 flat. Okay, so $2 flat, now worth $2.43 as NVDA continues to climb throughout the intraday session, and not too far off of the all-time highs. But you have these 200s that are most likely going to get assigned by the end of the week. What you want to do is go something that's further dated out and higher in strike. Okay, but you got to ask yourself multiple questions at the same time. Is this $250 that you're going to collect going to be worth even writing against that position? Because we talk about often is that the appreciation within the underlying asset and within the equity is always going to outweigh what you have collected via a covered call or a short option contract, right? It's always a fixed amount, and appreciation in price is always going to outweigh that regardless of where you are and how much you're going to collect. It's just how it works. It's just how the system works. So hopefully that helps. You can roll it or just avoid it, accept that loss, and just hold on to the shares, because if you're writing covered calls on these names, you already have over 100, so just allow that to work for itself. Remind people to keep in mind of wash sales too, if that matters to them. Yeah, fair enough. RXT wants it, says, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, let's see, what level does it exactly want? Nice bounce here in the market. You can see that we were selling. Now we ran into that support level, that level that we were talking about on Tesla. Actually held up not too bad as it came into the lower end of the range. A little bit of a whipsaw move and now continuing to climb. NVDA slingshot right back towards the HOD. So not selling and participating, buyers step right back in. And where do they kick in? Right there on NVDA, the volume weighted average price, just like Qualcomm, holding up really well.
Sorry, just give me a sec, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throwing in some orders.
Yeah, no problem. What else you guys got going? Roger Nguyen. Whatever happened to that girl? The TQQs, yeah, let's pull it up. I mean, we were talking about it and we've been looking at it all day as it's now heading in towards pre-market lows. 695 on the NASDAQ, and we're sitting at 732, we'll call it 733 here on the SPY. Tesla getting an additional curl over, but it's unfortunate that Bitcoin wasn't participating in this morning's rally. It was just going oppo here. So now do we wait for a trend line break and then maybe for some form of a recovery? Let's take a look at it from a daily and just see if we're in kind of a breakout zone or anything that we can correlate that would say, hey, yeah, Bitcoin is ready to recover here on the day. This is a nice, strong trend. We're not going to complain about this, right? I mean, considering so, I would like to see a little bit more of a recovery. And what I mean by that, 23% off the lows, you're not going to complain about it, but you have to take into a factor that you're still down 40% or so off of the high, which isn't fun at all. Let's get an exact percentage marker on how much more we need to. So we need to almost double from this point, a little bit less, 35%. All right, so 35% off of our highs here in Bitcoin. Is this going to be the move where we just grind? We talked about trend lines being breached and broken, and that's what we had. And then sure enough, from that point, you go from $40 all the way up to $46 roughly, which isn't horrible. A lot of individuals will take that. Michael Saylor will take that. Myself will. There goes NVDA, new high of the day almost here, guys, via NVDL. This thing is skyrocketing. Look at the tape, really start to accelerate. We don't have a red candle in the past 7 minutes, so it's really, really moving here. Market finding its bottom potentially, but what doesn't matter and what else is just living in its own world are these two names, Qualcomm and NVDA.
All right, man, we're giving Qualcomm a try over here. We're going to give it 212, see if we can trade some of these. Been a minute. But it's so parabolic. I'm looking for just a whole, there was a seller at 214. So we got 213.06. It's showing 212.90. Let's see what we can get on this one. Looking for another move up. The 5 looks good. The 15 looks good. We'll have to see if this one ends up manifesting above 214, but there was certainly a seller of note at around 214. Let's see how the IPO is doing. We're showing about 34. Here comes 34 again. on HAWK. I think it did breach it momentarily, but look at that topping tail candle that just sent us all the way down. So I guess the technical high of the day is about 34.23, but you can see all the closing prints basically rejecting that level, 34. So I think if 34 closes pretty decisively here on HAWK, it could act as a backstop. Hard to know because there's so little in the way of historical price action that we can base this on, but there does seem to be a buyer as well at around 33.30. You can see all the wicks kind of defend that area. So we'll see what the situation is with that. Just keeping a close eye here on Qualcomm. XNDU as well. Another interesting one over here looking to hold up at around the rejecting that $18 area. So that's something to look out for. But XNDU has had trouble with this $18 area ever since we kind of failed. We've been using this, I don't say 50 penny range at times, 17.50 to the downside and about 18 basically to the upside. RXT also making a bigger move here, stair-stepping up. Remember how we were talking about this one could be, that area low, or sorry, making a lower high to lure in the longs? Well, we're above that area again. So this is the area that I was speaking about, where it was going to make a lower high. And here we are trying to challenge for that 440 area high on RXT. That could be something of note there to keep an eye on. Qualcomm got stopped out of that. All right, so let's keep an eye on ATRA. This one is also having trouble taking out 10 bucks again because this was a good area on ATRA. Resistance, now it's definitely acting. Sorry, it was previously support, now definitely acting as resistance there. So continuing to watch, looking for a clearing of 10. You're not getting a clearing of 10, so coming back down into the level now. We'll keep a close eye here on ATRA. We got a super there. DJ Menace, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, DJ Menace. The Menace, sorry. What do you guys think about REA? It's IPO'd yesterday, managed to get under the $20. Also, can you look at NFLX 100 strike for January 15th, 2027? Looks good. Shout out to you. That's interesting there. I'll look at REA, and then Joey can look at Netflix calls for you. Have a look. I didn't even know we had this yesterday. All right, let's zoom out to the 15 so we can see all of yesterday's price action. So what'd you say? You said you got it under 20. Yeah, it didn't spend too much time under there, but I guess you picked it up in the aftermarket because it certainly did lose that level. Look, you got lower highs today, but you do have that area in the pre-market that kind of jived with yesterday in the aftermarket. It looks like there's a buyer here at around 1875, 1880, which was generally the level yesterday. It looks like it was 1880 yesterday. This morning, I think the low was 1870. So I think if that level holds, there's, again, not too much in the way of information for us to keep an eye out on there. But yeah, REA, not looking bad. See if it holds around 1880.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, let's take a look at Ozan's. Just stop it, please. All right, Ozan. All right, yeah, let's take a look at Netflix here for you. 100 calls, you like them. Keep that super chat up for me there, Assassino, for a couple of more seconds. Dude, come on, we're talking practice here. Like at the end of the day, we're talking about an expiration cycle that's in 2027, the first month, the first month of 2027.
Yeah, man.
All right, anyways, focus now. I mean, $100 on Netflix, I wouldn't be too worried about that. The thing about these further dated expiration cycles is that the longer it takes to work, obviously, the theta is very minimal, but it does start to accelerate. And I mean, we're trading at $88 right now. I don't know if you've purchased it. Let's head over to that to see how much it's even worth January 15th. And I mean, if you're paying pennies on the dollar, why not? I'm not going to call it a lottery ticket or anything along those lines because it's not, and it's still $720. When you purchase this, is extremely important, but if you think that we're going to climb above that, then by all means, it's not overly expensive. If you have confidence in it, then rock and roll with the trade. But you have to take into consideration that it's not really in play right now, right? We broke through some key support levels, and every day that passes that you're not slowly grinding higher or you don't have any form of bullish momentum or sentiment, then it's just like you're just kind of just throwing pennies away. And ask me how I know this. And eventually those add up, right? So once things start to turn around in Netflix, I think that would be a pretty good time to engage. Other than that, like it's not overly expensive. You have plenty of time, 253 days to be exact. But I think there's a time and a place for everything, and I think there will be a better opportunity for us to get involved with the Netflixes and some of these social media streaming platforms. I mean, Netflix being the primary one. I'm a shareholder, full disclosure of it, and I'm in around, I think it's like $95 or something like that is my average. Maybe even a little bit higher, $100 we'll call it flat, which is $12 out of the money. And you have to take into factor that just the fact we've been climbing higher in a lot of these names, and there's been it's been negative participation outside of the trend line break here in NFLX. We know as soon as that Warner Brothers Discovery deal, they stepped out of the bidding war, off to the races it goes, but you report, you gap down, and then you don't recover after that. You don't even breach this gap. There's a time, and I don't know if that time is right now, especially in like META as well. It's just hard to justify all the CapEx spending, a name that's still down double digits off its previous all-time high, 22%, so still fully in bear market territory. And the same thing with Netflix. There's a time and a place for everything, and it will arise. It's just not right now, in my opinion. Adara, what do you have?
Guys, looks like Fed's Daily just began speaking. She said that the future economic conditions that we have here will rely on the duration of the Iran conflict. Also just saying the public's aware here of the Fed's dedication to price stability. Main takeaway is that everyone agreed to keep interest rates unchanged. How the statement's worded actually matters less. So she's kind of downplaying some of the hawkishness here in terms of some of the votes with the rate statement. But again, saying that there could be some concerns here about future economic conditions with regards to how long this Iran conflict lasts. Back to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it depends when, wannabe trader, it depends when you invested in it. Like, I understand sometimes when you've gone through some growth cycles, and I was actually going to do something yesterday evening, but I just got too busy. So what I want to do is there's a couple of names that are just going through some accelerated growth, like Bloom Energy. I want to do a comparison amongst them all. What Palantir did a couple of years ago, what Robinhood did, what Bloom Energy is doing, and what some of these other names are doing, growing at substantial rates, and then where we can find potential peaks, and then when things start to go to cool over and they're not projecting as high as rates of growth, then maybe you can find that, hey, now's not the time. But where can we get involved is when revenue really starts to accelerate, the margins start to increase as well too. There's metrics that we can look into that say, hey, and which I found with Robinhood is that we're really starting to pick up. It's easier to identify when you're in triple digit and you're like, oh wow, 300% over here, 700%. It's really easy to identify that, but when we see something that's a little bit more linear, and not essentially exponential, until it gets into that phase, there's some good opportunities, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Palantir is past that, in my opinion, still growing at that, but not growing at the clip rate it was a couple of years ago.
All right, Atra is coming down pretty aggressively here. Tried to get in a couple of times, a 5 penny, 10 penny loss here and there. It is losing the bid pretty aggressively. I think the only area that we have to backstop is this $9 area. That was the double top at 10.50 and 10.55. Let's see if this area ends up holding up. It doesn't look very good right now, as this one is really coming down quite aggressively into 9 from a 10.47 high. Generally a buyer in and around here, but there's really, you can't see the bid stepping in. No, not at all. In fact, you're kind of seeing the opposite a little bit here. Looks like more like short covering, to be quite honest with you, because really nothing is coming in on the bid side of the equation. So keeping a close eye out on this one. Nothing really doing right now in the world of small cap gappers, guys. So everything's kind of failing at the moment, which kind of sucks, but that's the way it goes. Just flipping to the 5 on my top chart to see a better view of what's going on. Yeah, AGL, I'm not going to trade that. It's like $60, but hey, it's at day's high, so maybe I should be. But keeping an eye on some others, GLE, there was Sober as well. Bovin pointed that one out to me earlier. It's just south of VWAP. SOBR is the one I'm talking about there. Yeah, nothing really setting up. Most things coming back into VWAP or kind of sideways price action. Other than this Atra kind of holding up at 9, I really don't have a whole lot to comment on at the moment. It looks like Qualcomm is rejecting, coming back down again into 210, so we'll keep close eyes on that. But yeah, continuing to watch here. No good small cap gappers at the moment. We'll see if something sets up. Atra coming back down into 9 again. This one definitely feels like it is super top heavy at the moment and being controlled by the sellers. People are saying feed. Let me have a look at feed. And not bad. Chart pattern's not bad, up 19 and a fifth, but it's just a little light on vol. It's $1.49 and it's only done about 1.92 million shares. So that could be a little illiquid for my blood, but hey, it's 1 penny off the day high, 149 with a 151 high. So not bad there at all, and a very, very aggressive move up. I'm talking about FEED. Not on the screen right now because I'm just trying to keep a close eye here on ATRA. I want to see if it holds up at 9 because it keeps defending 9. There seems to be a buyer here of note at 9 as this current bar low is 903 on the dot. Every time it dips into 9, it's being bought up pretty aggressively here. We can get in here and give this one to just below 9, might as well. But I just don't see the bid stepping in. In fact, it's the same seller coming in 914, 915, or 9 mid to high teens. And we're really not breaching that. So not really sure how to approach this. You know that there's somebody backstopping you at 9, but you also know there's somebody blocking your way in the mid-teens. How do you square that circle? So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now, Joey. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Spread opens up 3 pennies, 2 pennies, but for the most part, it is a 1 penny spread. Here comes back down into 9 single digits again. Let's see if we can finagle something into this. 907, 906, 905, 903. They're same. 902 now. I saw 902s, but someone keeps stepping in at 9. Generally, in this area. Now they're stepping in 906. There's a buyer at 6s. All right, let's just give this a try. All right, take over for a second.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, guys, what do you got going on? I'm looking at the overall market here. Nice little recovery off of that momentum to the downside. Bounce off of this resistance zone, so you have a little bit of a whipsaw, come into VWAP, reject. Same thing here, you just head into that prior support level, acts as resistance, and then you put in a red candle. Nice recovery here on Tesla. I'm just drawing trend lines to see where we can get rocking and rolling. A couple of missed opportunities here on this name specifically, but nonetheless, there'll be plenty of more, and there's a lot of time left within the intraday session. It's just unfortunate that we're not participating. We're not getting those big-time sessions that I was expecting to happen here in Bitcoin that would give me some more confidence in the fact that we're ready to rock and roll and even potentially go and test those new all-time highs. There's so many things that we need to take into consideration is that where we sit in the halving cycle, right? Like we're year 2 and a bit. Is that typically a more bullish time for it? No, I don't believe it is. It's more or less bearish. But then as we get closer to the next halving event, then I think momentum will really start to pick up. That could be huge for Michael Saylor. This guy could just gain an insane amount of ground in a short period of time to the point where, like, okay, I know we all poke fun at him. Some people do, including myself. And like, yeah, this guy's, he's this, he's that. But right now, you look at how Bitcoin's performing, you're like, yeah, this guy's, what is he even doing? But until it starts performing and you're like, oh, okay, maybe he's on to something. He's one of the larger, he's the second largest, I believe, in Bitcoin holding, but at 800,000 plus. He's going to hit 1 million. And at some point, he will be the largest holder of Bitcoin.
I believe he is the largest.
Pretty sure he's the largest.
It could be wrong.
Yeah.
From an largest public company.
Public company, yeah, but the largest wallet is the $1 million. Is
it the largest? Is it active though, or is it
the last activity from what's his name, Satoshi Nakamoto was a while ago, right? A million.
Bad, yeah.
He has 1 million, right? So from an institutional standpoint, yes, he is the largest holder, but in the grand scheme of wallets, he's the second largest. The $1 million being one. Yeah, so we'll just be patient and wait and see. I don't know what this guy's timeline is. As Drake once said, he's not trying to be rich when he's 40, he's trying to make it now, and that's kind of my narrative. So Michael Saylor, time's a ticking. Let's see if we can get Bitcoin to start working out for us soon.
All right, we're doing okay here on Atra. It is nothing to write home about. We got 08s, it's showing 28, but there's just selling at every single level. So the shorts are certainly convicted in taking this one down, having kind of really flushed off that 1047 high down into 9. 9 is holding as a local resistance level, support level, but I'm not really buoyed by the price action right now. The price action does look like some short covering as opposed to longs getting in, but there was a very, very aggressive defender of $9, like super aggressive. And this one came to double O's as well, like 900. and it didn't breach at all. And there's no size posted on the gateway. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is there's a seller of note in the mid to high 20s on ATRA with current bar high. Here we are into 23 again. Current bar high, I'll just tell you guys in a sec, 926. So that's what I mean. Somebody at the $0.25 is really convicted in the short position and or is selling. So we can't seem to get above that. I'm hesitant to want to move up my stop into break even because of that buyer at $9 who hasn't been breached. So I'd rather see this through than take it out a little bit early. There we go into the 30s now. We're breaching some levels. Good look, looking for a little bit more now on ATRA. Let's see if we can get up into the 50s. I don't expect us to get parabolic again. Seller at 31, just because we already had that effect come in and it's going to surprise nobody. There's a monster seller at 31. What a random area, and they just killed him. They killed him again. Into 34 we go, looking for a bigger move here up into about, let's say, 50 pennies, right? Before we can start singing the praise of this one. I want to say there's going to be resistance likely between 50 pennies to 2/3. Because look at that flat bottom that we had there that we lost. 966 kind of was that area. So let's see. I'm going to put a liquidity tester into the low 40s to see what kind of selling there is up there with a view to, you know, kind of testing whether or not I should be waiting for the $0.50 or just taking it out here and running with a 20 penny win. So not really sure how to approach this because there's just a lot of aggressive selling. Look at this. But it's stair stepping up, mind you. Not much on the 5. Yeah, I definitely see support. Previous area of support at, let's say, 975. 975, but we got to get through that $0.50 before we can even start looking at that. Here we go back into the mid-30s. Let's see if that liquidity tester in the low 40s gets filled. Not quite yet. So a lot of resistance up here, Joey. Did we breach prior bar high on the 5? Let me just have a quick look. So prior bar high was 936. Current bar high is 35. So the answer to that is no. I don't like this trade. I got to tell you the truth. Even though there's a 9 buyer, it doesn't feel like this one's going to have an easy way about it. Just given that, you know, it rocketed up and now the shorts want their cut. They want their cut. They want to take it down. And right now they have the money to do so because they're keeping this one up below the $0.25 for now, Joey.
All right, let's head over to our watch list once again. Guys, any options questions? Some good options talk here today. Couple solid comments in there talking about covered calls, what we can do leading into earnings, and just how essentially we can leverage systems just using the derivative. DDOG was on fire here.
Crazy.
Yeah, big time. Big time on fire. Ran into this level, almost this 201, which I don't know if that's going to be a previous all-time high, but relatively close. But starting to come back in, that's an insane gap up. Holy smokes, 32%. Yeah, smoking a pancake on that one there, Sharif. Oklo. All right, I mean, here it is. Some of these nuclear plays for non. We don't want that one. Where did I lost myself here now?
What happened, Joe?
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? APLD has been on fire as of late. $20 all the way up, so you get 120%. I've been talking about Applied Digital. I forget. It really started to move. They signed this lease agreement for a pretty hefty fund. I think it was like around $300 million or something along those lines, which with the hyperscaler, which just send this name right back towards that all-time high. So APLD on fire. TKO Holdings, this is going to be my next buy. Like, if I'm going to sit here and watch this stuff on Saturdays, I may as well participate in it and see if I can collect a little cash. What is the dividend on this? 78 cents a share. We'll take it.
That's great.
That's really good, right?
Yeah.
For $180.
I got 20-something today from Apple.
From Apple? That's not bad, man.
I got a notification.
I would love to be a dividend aristocrat, man.
Like your Uncle Warren?
Yeah.
He's a dividend aristocrat.
You know what I mean? Like,
don't you remember he got paid from Apple in 1 year in the divvy?
In the divvies? Like, think about this.
Stupid.
Dude, if I could just, let me put it to you this way. So how many times do we get paid here? Every quarter, we're getting $1.99 from the SPY. You know what I would do if I had 10,000 shares of the SPY every quarter?
What'd you do, Joey?
I would just move to Da Nang and live off of the divvy.
You wouldn't need to live in Da Nang, man. You would live like in Paris. You know, I don't want to live there either, bro. But
not really, bro. It's only like $40K a year, really, on 10,000. A little bit more, 80 if it's $2.
Yeah, but
that's not bad though.
I personally would roll that money back in. Hold on.
Yeah.
Have you set IB to roll your divvy.
Divvy?
Yeah, I always
no,
do.
TD is my long term.
long-term.
IB is
Fair.
my
Swing.
play. Yeah.
No, I
Do you have yours set
to
up
roll
like that?
right away. The divvy
Straight
rolls
away.
right back in.
So they just hit you up. So you got the divvy.
it's compounding.
You got divvy right back into app.
Right in. Yeah,
Right
it
away.
just buys fractionals or whatever it is. Yeah. I don't ever realize a divvy. And then there's a reason for that as well, tax purposes. Dividends, you can roll dividends, right? Under the CRA, under the Canada Revenue Agency or it's ITA, the Income Tax Act, excuse me. You can roll your dividends so that so dividends is taxed as basically income, very similar, at the same similar rate. But you have a choice. You can realize the dividends and then pay the tax on them, or you can roll the dividends back in and not pay the tax on them. You'll have to pay it at a later date when you do realize it, but I don't need that money right now. And so therefore, I don't want to pay the divvy there. Continuing to watch here, sorry guys, a little digression. Continue to watch ATRA. It's stair-stepping up quite nicely. Current bar high, I believe, is the mid-40s. We've got 08s on. I'm looking for a breach of the $0.50. I want to see if we can squeeze into 3/4 if we take out some sellers. But as I've mentioned, the ATRA trade, a bit thick. Here it is, into 60 pennies, Joey. Into 80 freaking pennies. Give me my money, man. Give me my money, man. Not giving me my money, Joey.
Oh, whoa.
That's crazy.
Light it, man.
Yeah, man, there we go. So wet the beak there. I'm not sure why it's not letting me out. That's quite frustrating, but that's fine. Nice move up here into the 60s. Current bar high, guys, is 990 on the dot. Don't be a schmuck like me. Put those resting orders there. I got about 20 pennies worth of slippage there. 990 high. I ended up taking out 60 something. So good look right now for ATRA. It is really moving. I want to see if this one can break through 10. If this one breaks through 10, your boy's going to add. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to wait for a touch of that 90. Let's put something at 89. And then if we get through 10 again, this could be on like Donkey Kong, baby, but we're going to have to see if we can get through 10. There's 90, Joey, and there's the print at 90. There's 10 again. Good look here right now on ATRA. Looking for more. We definitely need to get through that 10 before I add because, well, we know what that whole dollar, especially that $10 area, could mean. Moreover, it is turning into a topping tail candle. That means one of two things. This could be the money fill for you, especially on that move up, or it could be the beginning of what could be a crappy afternoon. Oh. I'm playing. Hopefully it's not the latter. It is the former. Continuing to watch here. I'm very interested in adding more into this position. Should it breach 10? That hasn't happened yet. So we're just going to pack the patience. Bovin, I want 14 on Atra. That's my man, Bovin. Is that what the wider time frame is showing, Bovin? Just tag me in the chat because I don't even want to bother looking at the moment because I got to keep my eye on this one because I do want to add if it does breach 10 and I don't want there to be the same type of slippage we had earlier. So ATRA, very interested in getting into a little bit more on this. Also, RPGL is starting to curl back up here. A clean hold off VWAP. And it could be looking to do a little bit more damage. RPGL, the one I'm talking about there. I'm going to put a liquidity tester at 10.05, Joey. That way I'll know if it's breached 10. Because sometimes, the tape just moves so quickly you don't even get to see it. So right now we are rejecting 10. I put a beak wetter at 10.05. But if we do get a decisive breach of this $10 area, I'm probably going to add into the position. And maybe we'll ride it into 14 like Bovin was earmarking there as a possible area of resistance.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. As the market is slowly starting to slide.
Oh. I like the shoulder moves there, my boy. That was crazy. Upcoming earnings announcement for one more of the companies in your portfolio. Okay. Oh, no, Joey, who's reporting?
Who's that?
You think I should probably have this on the calendar.
Who's reporting?
Let me find out. Yeah, somebody there, Joey, is going to be reporting.
Oh, did you get your voting cards in the mail?
My voting card?
Yeah, it's just, sometimes they just send like.
With your equities. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I have Silo earnings today.
Okay.
SILO. I bought that because they were a sponsor of ours. I just put $100. I'm out of the money on it, but.
That's all right.
SILO is the ticker there, guys. But
yeah, after the close.
Kind of a lottery ticket. But
after the close, it's kind of quiet. Oh, that's Friday. We don't want Friday. We want today, man.
Friday? You ain't got no job.
Oh.
You ain't got to do.
That's not good.
That's actually not true because I do have a lot to do.
Oh.
And I do have a job.
Okay.
2. All right, continuing to watch here. Here comes 10. And again, we're rejecting 10, but it feels like maybe now, in the same kind of the opposite vein when we were at 9, it feels like the shorts are on the rope here with us really creeping into that $10 level, which could cause this to really rocket if it does breach above 10. Now, I don't want to have an order, a long order to go, above $10, because, you know, sometimes you can just wick above 10 and then all hell breaks loose to the downside. So there's 10.01, no continuation, Joey. Look at the tape. They're zigging and zagging. So my 10.05 order has not printed. That's the exact reason I put it up there. It's because sometimes you don't really understand what the levels are because it just moves so quickly and you don't have time to look onto the other screen. These ones move quicker than I'm talking right now. So ATRA definitely looking for a bigger move up above 10.
All right, good stuff. Let's see how Walmart's been performing. This is the gap fill that I was talking about in USO here, guys. So starting to climb higher, back to a high of 134.23. That's a pretty big move here in the intraday session from a low of 129. That's $5 or so to the top side. I think this pre-market high can most definitely be in play. As the market is slow, it's not doing too much right now. It's kind of grinding sideways. We have that initial flush breaking through some key support levels, heading a little bit lower after that point, finding itself getting that rebound that you're looking for, the pullback, but then rejecting the volume-weighted average price. So we'll keep an eye on it. How has Intel been performing with a high? This stock is absolutely insane. Donald Trump making billions of dollars for the American people.
Billions.
Yeah, how much did you say? He made 80 billion?
I don't know, man, but he's great. I saw someone commented under that comment, not that I'm agreeing with it, but someone was just like kind of dunking on his parade there. It was like, yeah, you spent that yesterday in Iran. It's like, it's just not true, right?
Wow.
But he has spent some money there. It's not in one day, but the point pretty well taken, right?
Very point well
You're making money on one side, spending it on the other, right?
Spending it on the other. Yeah, that's not ideally what you want. But hey, nonetheless, PanW, let's take a look at some of the other names. PanW with a big gap up. We're talking about some of the cybersecurity names finding their footing here, guys, and pretty strong. We're still sitting in Netflix here, 88.47 off of those lows. You had the support level break of 90, and then you start to come in. Now filling that gap. You can see at that wick high at 86.33, you get a bounce off of that, and now a retest of that prior support acting as resistance. Now, the split date was November 10th, a 10-1 there on NFLX, putting things down to $800. Now, Bitcoin, we don't need to talk about that as it's not really doing anything right now. Hovering around that 45.23 low. Is this going to be a base where you start to slowly recover and then maybe you can rebound back to VWAP? But you can see how the indicator is really hugging price, guys. It's tracking down. It's almost moving. It is some form of a moving average, but it's moving like a lower EMA, like the 9, the 20 or something along those lines. But hey, downtrend, slow break. Can we hold up this previous trend line that we have drawn from the day before? And are we going to find any form of recovery in that big time move that we've been looking for here in Bitcoin? Might take a little bit more time, but at some point we will. Just not be when we're expecting it. But you have to be prepared in that case. Now, as for everything else, guys, what are you looking at? Give me a couple of names in the chat. We'll go over some things. BTA says, Blicky Spears, no, not yet anyways. Man, no. Yeah, that stuff makes me that makes me laugh, BTA. Tesla moving down. The momentum really starting to pick up here, Sharif, in the overall market as the SPY is heading towards the high of the day. Trendline break here on Tesla as it's really starting to uptick. Watch out, guys. Not quite a high, all-time high on NVDA, only a couple points away. Watch out for a gap up tomorrow's session, or maybe even a latter half of the session, 2:30, 2 o'clock. You might be able to see that final push for NVDA to breach its previous all-time high.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to reject a $10 here on ATRA because now we're starting to curl, and there it is, the flush. Yeah, felt that. Now, this could bounce, though. Look for a hold at 50. So this seller at $10 has a lot of money and a lot of conviction because the amount of volume that exchanged hands in the high 90s and 10 for that matter, because it flashed 10 multiple times, was quite ridiculous. We can go back and look at the volume profile for this when things do slow down. But I'm looking for a hold up here. Generally, let's see, there's a buyer in the 2/3, but if it loses the half, I'm out. And then perhaps we'll set up a breakout trade over 10. Now that we know that there is a really, really staunch seller in and around there. My concern was that the seller wouldn't show their hand in and around 10, and that would lure the longs on a 10 breach. So if you put a breakout trade for, say, a 10.07, whatever, 10.05, the short seller doesn't show his hand at 10, lures you above 10, so you think, okay, well, we'll get in right if the 10 break comes in, and then that's where the seller order comes in. Doesn't look like they're quite doing that here. Looks like they're setting up right at 10, and so I put a breakout trade, maybe a little bit in the mid-teens, 10 mid-teens. This one has a high day of 1047. So definitely can probably pop off pretty quickly. All right, so looks like there's a defender here in and around 70 or the high 60s as we work our way back into the mid 80s. I want to see if we take yet another shot at this $10 area. Yeah, now they're looking like they're selling here in the low 80s. We'll see if we can kind of get any prints above that. But look how the tape has slowed down now. So that's not good for the longs, right? You need that kind of tape teleportation, as Obi used to call it, to show that the buyers are stepping in. Here we are again, man. Holy cow. This one has so much resistance at 10, right back into the mid to high 90s. There's 98 again. I've got my order ready to go. And again, it's rejecting 9.99 and 10. That is ridiculous. What a convicted short seller that is at $10, man. Unreal, Joey, keeping this one down. We do have technically a lower high on this bar, but we do have a higher low. There's 99s again. 10, nothing coming above 10. So, yeah. I keep repeating myself, and I do apologize, but that's literally what's happening at the moment.
All right, man.
Crouching Tiger. Speaking of Obi, haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, hopefully he'll be here soon. He's going to cover for Joe and I. So when Joe and I are off, it's going to be Obi in. If I'm off, he'll be in with Joey. But I'm not planning on taking any vacations until August anyway. So unless I'm sick or something,
yeah,
I don't anticipate.
I'm gonna take a couple here and there.
Like, take a couple here?
Yeah, so last Sunday I was just kind of figuring out all my events for the summer. Not like that's exciting or anything like that. Just getting everything planned out to see.
Give me a general idea.
I want to go to a music festival. We'll go to Taco Fest. We'll do obviously Caravana. Do West Fest. Do West Fest was actually so much fun.
Was it actually?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, I really, especially at nighttime, man, the whole street, like, if you're in Toronto, the street, like, as soon as, even during the day, it's like, the street is literally a party as you, everything's intense. So, like, you can go to, like, a different music section and stuff like that. So they shut down this big street, and then it's just a music festival, and you can go and watch shows and stuff on the street. So if it's not hot next week, I'm leaving this country. Well, Ramin.
She's always so sullen, bro. I love her.
Yeah, I got some bad news for you. It's not going to get warm until the end of the month, really. It's going to even...
Get it, Ram.
Yeah, I feel it, though. But I've switched up my playlist. I told you my playlist is fire. I've gone from everything else to just house music, because house music is the vibe of summer, in my opinion.
Hey.
All right, see you, Ramin. Have fun wherever you're going. June 21st is a Tapia Fest in Laurel, Philippines.
Katina, man.
Yeah.
Katina is like Tilapia Fest. Get me out of here.
James Dell, bro. Yeah, that we don't often say this, Sharif and I.
Yes.
Do us a solid and hit the. I am just a chill guy. Do us a solid and hit the like and the subscribe, please and thank you.
Please, yes, of course. Thank you.
I'm not going to hit mine because then Sharif will want to hit his, and then
Well, I'm trying to look for it. I couldn't find it, bro. I'm trying to trade here. This guy's distracting me.
But anyways, I didn't even do that, man. Well, look at the head of hair.
Yo, grow the hair back, bro.
I can't. It doesn't grow. You don't get it, man. It just doesn't. And the bald spot at the back, yeah. But other than that, guys, it's been a chill. I am just a chill guy. I'd like to think that. I haven't put on any positions. We had the NVDA trade here earlier in the day. Sometimes it only takes one and done, and you're satisfied. So if there's something that steps in and I really, really like it, then by all means I will put myself. But I'm not just going to speculate without finding any high quality opportunities.
All right, guys, I added into this position trying to pick up some in the mid 9s for another attempt at 10. But it doesn't really look like, I don't know, I don't feel it's setting up the right way. So what I did is I've moved up my stop, which was below 9, obviously, and now we're gonna put it at 9.5. It's curling down, so that's not a good look, right? So I gotta make sure I cut the bleeding. So my cost basis now moves up from 908 to 949. It's showing me 974. My idea here is to try to take out some into the mid to high 90s and 80s. So there we go. We get a little pop off there into the low 80s. We're going to look for some in the mid-90s as well. There's 85. Happy I added. There it goes again into the 90s, looking for the print. We're not getting the print on the ad quite yet. But you guys got to be honest with you. You know, I'm looking to add more above 10, but we got to breach that $10 level. Yeah, this is it's looking bullish, man. I mean, it just popped off into the 10 EMA, ripped up. It feels like it's going to take out 10. When it does, your guess is as good as mine, but I'm trying to really trade this the right way and not get too crazy with it. Here comes again, looking for 10. So good ad there. Happy with the ad. So we're not getting that 10 break yet. Maybe we'll get it when we go to Adair.
Keep an eye here on both SMCI and DELL, guys. Looks like these are on watch here after we get a report from Nikkei suggesting that SoftBank's looking to work with NVIDIA to potentially build a made-in-Japan AI server. So once again here, SoftBank reportedly talking to NVIDIA about building made-in-Japan AI servers. You do get a little bit of a move down in DELL. Here is SMCI, not reacting too much to this. It's also day 2 earnings for them. Back to you.
Good look. All right. Yeah, no breach yet. Back into the 80s we go. So my ad level was 73. Now you can kind of see that. Obviously adding much higher. But I will add more if it does breach 10. No, it's not happening at the moment. So what else is moving, though, guys? What else is moving? Hey, Chunk Sapat. He's dropping $5 New Zealand dollars. I don't know. I'm not, you know, the resident historian or anything like that. But I don't remember us ever getting a New Zealand super chat, like with New Zealand dollars.
No, I don't know.
No, do you recall?
I can't recall that. No.
No, neither do I. Thank you very much. Chunk Spat. Will SNDK recover at all today? Guesstimate closing percentage. Churr. All right. Okay.
What is churr? Is that a New
I don't know.
Zealand
Maybe
thing?
it's like a New Zealand thing. I have no idea, brother. We can check. All right. Let me just load this up over here. SNDK. What was the recover at all today? Okay. I see what you're saying. Look, brother. We're not even at 1,300 yet, and so. Monday, the highs of Monday were about 1275. So yeah, we got a couple of days now we've been selling off. Yesterday gapped up, obviously above 1500, and it's been a bit of a sell. Hard to know. 1410 or thereabouts was the closing print yesterday. Tried to breach it a couple of times, both of which failed. We made a couple attempts there on the implied balance open, and then later at 1015 into 1400, both of which failed. I don't think we recover into 1400, but I would be saying that 1275 area, 1300 to 1275, looks like an interesting buy area if you're looking for something locally, right? Looking to get in. But whether or not we kind of get back into the closing print from yesterday into 1410, I doubt it. It feels like a bit of a downtrend unless something fundamentally changes with this market. How do you see SNDK, Joey?
Yeah, let's pull it up right here.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you for those. I wonder what, I know the Australian dollar is typically kind of like a 1-to-1. I wonder what New Zealand is compared to the Canadian dollar. What was I pulling up? SNDK. Pull up. What do we see this recovering from a percentage metric? All right, I want to pull up a different charting platform so we can actually get those numbers. But I mean, 1,400 high, you're down 10% close to off of that level. What the real question, in my opinion, is how much, like, I understand that we've been on this big time run, but do you expect it to go, even though it has been pretty much been gapping up every day, breaking out, it feels like it's almost printing a new all-time high. There's just there's a month from the start of April, it was just every day it was printing a new all-time high pretty much. And I understand that you're down 5%. Will it recover completely? I don't know. I'll say this. I think we close about anywhere in the range. This is going to be a really wide range, 2.5% to 5% down. Okay, so you might recover 2.5% from here. You might not. You might continue to slide. Here's a trend line. If that breaks, then watch out for the lower end of the range. Right now we're down 5. At that point, it'll probably put you around 5.5 or something. So not too bad of a look, but. Other than that, eventually the hottest stocks will cool down, and we will see that in the microns, in the SanDisks, in the AMDs. We've seen AMD really start to pull back here. 405, we have a high of around 431, so that's $30 off of that previous high. You have that indecision print after that massive gap up, boom, you're down 6 and a fifth right now, and it looks like you're going to want to head towards this gap here, right? So watch out for at least 40 to 50% of this to be filled before you see any form of a pullback. Like, we can't even draw a trend line up there. It's just absolute parabolic. And I think 382 is where we can turn around. And I was talking about some put spreads that we can gauge if you are looking bearish, but it's just really tough. I believe there might be one more wick out. You have the breach of that 431 high, and then you slowly start to come back in a little bit here on AMD. Over 100% in the span of a month. That's some big time returns, man, in a heavily market capped name.
All right, I took out the last remaining amount on Atra break even. I'm still watching this one for a 10 break, but Bovin alerted me to the fact that HAWK took out 34 and took out 34 pretty decisively. It's a 34.49 high right now. Let me throw that in because it's not updating on my chart. HAWK, there we go. Yeah, 34.14 or thereabouts. The spread's about 20 pennies, so something to watch out for there, but let's see if 34 holds as support here, Bovin, because here we come into 34. Whoa. Okay. The spread really opened up. It's about 40 pennies now. Right back above 34 we go. Do we hold, though? Current bar low is 33.89. I don't know, Bovin. I don't feel like it's parabolic, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be a multiple halter. It feels like a very thick trade here. On HAWK, so I'm just trying to articulate the benefits of getting into this, because we don't have good areas of technical support and resistance other than this 34 area, which is getting breached on a wick basis, mind you. And then also, like, what's the upside to this? Are we going to rock it up $1 at a time? It feels like we're moving 10, 15 pennies in a 5-minute candle. So I don't know how you feel about this, Bovin. Yeah, he feels the same. RLX.
There's Obi in the chat. People have been asking for him now.
Where is he?
Obi.
There he hucked.
That's crazy.
I love that guy, bro. Look at him. Oh boy, coming in the chat. There's my man, Obi. Obi, people were just talking about you, bro. People legitimately were just asking about you.
Did you see him in the office today?
No, I didn't. Is he in the algo room?
I don't know, but if he is, come by.
Ob, are you in the office, brother?
Come by if you are, man. People want to see.
Spit on that thing. Ob. Whoa. Well, he's talking about Hakua, right? So, my days, Obi. How's everyone doing? He's asking. We miss you, Ob.
Come over here, man. Come over into the come into the stew and say what up. No,
I know he's at home. All right.
Man.
Shout out to my man, Ob. I'm happy I got out of this one, Joey. It failed. It rejected 10.
Hop in the stew.
So ATRA rejects 10, drops back down. Current bar low is 9 1/3. It's bleeding its own blood. Nope, not for me. Unless it breaks $10, but there was certainly a seller of note at $10. So, yeah, not going to be involved in that one. We can keep an eye on RPGL as well. What was Texas Jet Fan? RLX holding, he said. RLX. Did I take that one off the side chart? I did. RLX. RLX. Brother, there's like no volume on this. 15. Texas Jet Fan. Is that what the one you want me to look at? RLX. Bovin also saying sober, SOBR. Yeah, this one, you know how I feel about these ones, Bovin, that straddle VWAP like this. Unless it gets back, into like 185, 190 on SOBR.
Look who it is.
Who is it?
You see right above Obi.
Selena Johnson?
Yeah. Hi,
That's
Joe.
Selena? No way. Hey, Selena. Why Assassino? Why Assassino? Fat finger.
Oh, you saved yourself.
We thought Assassino was coming in hard there. You saw that?
What's going on?
What's going on, Selena?
Yeah, she's
All right, man. We're watching here. Joey, I don't know how to trade this HAWK. It's holding up above 34, but it's not showing me the right things, man. It's not showing me the right things. I don't know what to do here, but yeah, back down to 34, Joey. I don't know, man. I'm not liking the volume on this. I'm not liking the spread. The price action is a little bit So I'm gonna hold off here for a second. We should start the news though. It's almost a quarter after, eh?
We could do whatever. We could do whatever.
No news, Katina, man. Yeah, we're gonna do the news.
You're saying.
Yeah. Just got
I like
caught.
this. I like the scruff, man.
Hey.
Yeah, that Katina man's got going on.
Yeah,
Katina man, don't forget to tell the people that we got 1.5% cash now, not 50 cents. All right. Bro, this guy brought it up like 4 times yesterday. I'm like, bro, you don't gotta expose the man like that. Like, yeah, like, we added more cash.
That's
you know
great.
what I mean?
All right,
pull up the news.
Yeah, we're gonna start pretty quickly here, Joey. I'm just setting up there we go. And then we're gonna bring in that chart so we can kind of look at the stock we're talking about on the news segment.
Bro, you did.
Oh, man. Sorry, just one more sec here. I'm almost ready for the news. I just need to load up. There we go. Now we're good to go. All right, guys. China sales for Tesla. It's a good look and finally a bit of a change in trend for that company on that continent. So good look. Let me just move this up over here so I can keep a look at all my small cap gappers. All right. So China made EV sales rose by about 36% year over year in April to about a little bit less than 80,000 units, 79,478. That is, though, the 6th consecutive months of gains, and it's kind of more suggestive of demand stabilization in one of the more critical markets for Tesla, of course, the 2nd largest economy in the world, China. The figure was up 7.2% month over month. So not only are you seeing year over year gains, sequentially month over month, you're also seeing gains. That's a good look there. And it was really buoyed by the Model 3 and the Model Y, specifically the Model YL, the not the long range, but the bigger body, the longer body. Very popular in China. They like that kind of 3-row comfortable SUV. It's doing well there. My sources, not like I have real sources, but my sources tell me that it's going to make its way to North America. It's already on the way to Europe, mind you. Now, this kind of matters because Tesla's sales have been really hit hard because of the cheaper and, let's be honest about it, more capable Chinese EVs that are being sold to their market there. The big overhang does remain, though, the full self-driving approval in China. That still eludes them. We saw what happened. Where was it? Norway? Where did they get approval in Norway?
It was like Sweden or something.
Sweden, somewhere in Europe, Netherlands, something like that. Anyway, they're looking for full European regulatory authorization. They haven't got it quite yet in China, but management now expects Q3 delays from regulators and continued skepticism from European authorities. So a bit of a bearish look there. They're also reportedly, listen to this, Tesla is also reportedly developing a cheaper compact SUV in China. It doesn't say for North America to defend shares against BYD and other domestic rivals. That should be interesting, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just a different variation. I mean, it's good to see the uptick, obviously, with the China-produced vehicles. We talk about the decline in Europe sales. That's still down 7.2% from March. But, I mean, 36% Street brought that up to us. Not too bad. But again, we just talk about it. It's good to see that it's starting to grow somewhere at least, and they're not losing continuous market share, whether it's in Asia or in Europe. It's probably going to continue to slide. People looking for cheaper alternatives. And we talk about just where the shift within Tesla is going to lead into. And we know it's going to be robotics and it's going to be autonomous vehicles. There is already some form of a structure within China. How much market share can Tesla take from AVs and FSD? That's the next question. I don't know what's going on from Europe. We talked about Sweden and how they're allowing full self-drive, or one of the European countries. Who's going to have the ability to grab the most amount of market share? And what is the robo-taxi going to cost people? And I think that's something really important because we know the popularity within the brand, but if they can head over into China or into Europe and just say, hey, this thing's only going to cost you $30,000 US and you get the robo-taxi, it's fully AV, I think we'll see a boost. And that's what we're waiting for, especially here in North America, but it will trickle over into Europe, into China as well, too.
All right, Joey, let's take a quick look to see what the morning note said for the intraday setup. Recall, guys, you get a swing setup, you get an intraday setup, and over here, I've said very little about this area. but this area is actually quite good. This is the technicals area. So I'm going to remind everybody, the morning note now is broken down into 3 separate segments. You have the story, which is kind of give you an idea about the details. If it's earnings, you're going to get numbers. But you also have the technicals. And the technicals are broken down into 2 areas. You get the intraday, which is based on the 15-minute chart, and you get the 4-hour, which is the swing trade context there. You get support and resistance for both intra and swing, and you also get structure. 50-minute structure / momentum, 4-hour structure / momentum. It's telling you what the structure of the trade is and how to view it. Then you get a bias at the bottom. It's basically what way the trade is leaning. You can always go your own way. Of course, you can all go your own way. You can go your own way. I love the 80s, man. You like it, Assassino? That's my man. Who sings that, Assassino? Fleetwood Mac. Thank you, Assassino.
Is it Fleetwood Mac?
So the momentum setup today says remains valid above 400 while the stock holds trend structure and higher lows. How about a clean breakout above 410 with volume could trigger continuation to 415, 420. Well, look what you got right there. Right at 930, 410 break. Look at the high. 415.83, that was bang on. You didn't get 420. I think Elon and everybody else would have liked 420, but you got 410 to 415. That was spot on. And then there was also this one, which didn't come in, obviously. Failure back below 400 increases the risk of a flush into 395 or even 300 or 390. So that was a good look there. I think the morning note got that one right. Good look for the morning note. Let's go on to ARM. ARM said demand for its AI chip platform doubled from 1 billion to 2 billion through 28 as hyperscalers increased their demand and interest for that specific chip. Despite the demand jump, the company kept guidance unchanged because supply capacity for wafers, as well as packaging, as well as testing, all remain constrained. That is a kind of a growing theme, in the semis world. The market reacted negatively, of course, to the lack of guidance raise, sending shares down pretty aggressively here. Where's ARM at? Let's have a look. ARM is down. Oh, it's SSR too, 9.95, so even worse. Q4 revenue did rise about 20% year over year, about 1.49 billion, so about $1.5 billion, with EPS coming in at 60 pennies, beating the 58 expected by the street. And Astra just took out $10. It is ripping. What happened to my order there that I had for a 10.25 break? Just looking. Yeah, it didn't come in. That's fine. I'm going to keep my eye out on this one. Can you take over for a second? Because I think this one's still on the breakout right now. Yeah,
absolutely. I was looking at SanDisk here, reading some more on ARM. We'll touch more when Sharif is done dealing with his position there.
Sorry.
Don't know. What are you apologizing for?
Ripping, that's why.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, rock and roll on that one. Let's see. Don't pull up my chart. Pull up his chart in, and I'll ramble on a little bit as we look at this stock continuing to climb. He's in there, 1064. I'm not in anything. We got to get the action rocking and rolling here. So just reading a little bit more up on ARM. A lot going on. Sharif and I were talking about not too long ago, earlier in the day, I should say, just the fact that Bloomberg released this piece. If you guys want to go and check it out, it's pretty good and just gives you essentially a whole look into the ecosystem and where things start with this AI build out, I should say, just from the machines that make the chips and who's creating them and then who has to purchase them, heading into the fabs and then chip design. It's really cool and it's really informative and I enjoyed watching it. I'll watch it again and look for some more information based off of that stuff. So yeah, here's the market low of the day, guys. The NASDAQ printing a new one. We have the SPY printing a new one, official trend line break here in Tesla. As for IBIT, hovering around the low of the day, can't find a bottom right now, but what we are holding up on is you can see that the overall market are at some key levels right now. We have a big time triple bottom over here. Can we even classify that if it's not at the low of the day? But triple tests, almost 4 tests of the volume weighted average price here on NVDA, and we haven't broke either level. So where are we going to head? That's a major question. Are we going to continue with the narrative of just buying some of these lows and selling the high? I think that's the $1 million question, especially if you're looking to play the ebb and flow from 211 all the way up to 214. I'm going to suspect if we head back up into that area again, we're going to break it because you can only test something so many times until it eventually breaches, whether it be to the downside or to the top side. So keep an eye out on that. Trend line still fully intact from a secondary standpoint, and you can see from 214, bang, you get a 5-minute candle. You can maybe climb a little bit higher. Always be cautious of buying the middle of the range, though. Why? Because we got on this spiel multiple occasions. Now, if you're buying a breakout, there's multiple things that you need to kind of fall into place and correlate with the trade. Volume and demand, all right? So you want to see that volume step in, but then also the demand for price at a higher level. Now, if you're selling the low, same thing, you need to see that demand really start to uptick and then supply and demand at the lower levels and then support at 211, you want to see the volume break through it. But if you're thinking about, hey, I just want to play the ebb and flow of this, what you want to try and establish yourself is at the lower end of the range. Why? Because you're not proven wrong until you get to the lower end. And the same thing, if you're looking to short the tops, you don't want to short right at support levels, even though sometimes we do. It just really depends on how many tests you have, what the volume and the momentum is saying. But if you're kind of stuck in limbo in an area where you don't know where the underlying is going to move, it's always best to position yourself where you can have the best risk to reward ratio. And that's going to be around 214 if you're looking to short, and if you're looking to buy around 211. 212, middle of the zone. Now we're not proven wrong on the long until we're south of 211. Right? Now, if we were to short it here, we're not proven wrong until north of 214.50. That's a lot of room that you have to give the trade when we can just be patient a little bit and then get in at that really key levels that we're looking for. So, yeah, that's what we have going on there. ARM Holdings, Shreve still sitting in that ATRA 1064. It's not rocking and rolling.
No.
It broke through that level, but
it's not good.
The momentum. That's
not good.
right.
I was trying to add into the highs. Now it looks like it's coming back down into 10. Current area low is right at 1030. So we will give some back here if it does breach the quarter dollar. Yeah, it feels like it's on the downtrend here. It's been a tough trading day, at least for me anyway. Looking for that area to hold. Otherwise, I'm looking for another attempt, possibly at that $11 area. It's a 1087 high. We're kind of being kept down by a seller in the mid 40s. I want to see if we can breach through that 50 penny level, because that's probably the area that they're going to earmark for some resistance. So we'll pack the patience. If we break below the quarter dollar, we'll give some back. We'll stay positive on this one, though, negative on the day, but we're going to send you to a dare.
DELL actually had quite a strong day, but right now giving some of the move back. OpenAI announcing a new translation feature called GPT Real-Time Translate. This allows you to translate across streaming through more than 70 input and 13 output languages. This breaks down language barriers. So again here, OpenAI new language feature, DELL, dropping a little bit here, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, all right.
That's pretty cool, right? Because I use them in conjunction. That's the thing, right? And I always tell everybody, I'm like, if you really want to get the most out of this, you really kind of need to use them together. They have this new, I don't know if you've been doing Spanish lately, but they have this new feature called Explain My Answer. And it's kind of helpful, but then sometimes it just like, it just repeats what the lesson said. So it doesn't help at all. But that's why I kind of use chat. With chat too, you can just take screenshots of
and just send it over.
Yeah, and put it in, and then it like basically understands everything that you're asking.
But what is that like? I mean, I think that's pretty good, right? Like, so they're going to implement this into their software for iPhone wearables, right? Where you already have the translate. Is it going to make it that much better, right? So I mean, very interesting stuff. I try to going to the actual places. I like that the fact that when I go to a country that I'm obviously it's not my first language, I can pick apart the words, even though I don't fully understand it. I like that.
That means you're good at languages.
Yeah. I can. Well, I'm not good at French. I can tell you that for free.
Well, yeah. Maybe it was a lack of motivation because it was forced upon you.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the case with me as well. It's like they shoved it down your throat in grade 4, and you didn't have a choice of whether you would take it or not. And quite frankly, I don't want to go down this road because I feel like I'll offend some people, but. You know, it's just not my favorite language.
I mean, cry me a river, man. At the end of the day.
C'est dommage. Yeah, that's too bad. I do understand a lot of it, though, but it's not for me. I wonder how many words I actually know in
French.
Man, yeah. I know how many words I know in Mandarin. That's quantifiable. That's easy. Over 350.
That's good. Yeah, don't you? Isn't it like kind of a rule of thumb that 500 words and you can start to speak, like have a legit?
I can have like small conversations, but it says basic.
The basic conversations.
Yeah, like super basic though. Like when I get to level 20, and right now I'm almost at level 14, I should be able to have like some basic conversations. But
there's something stepping into the market here. You can see that we really put in a new low of the day. Maybe some news stepping in. I see a lot of people talking about it as IBIT really tanks once again here. An additional flush at the lows. We're sending things off to Adara. Let's see what this news headline is.
USO just spiked in a big way here. Wall Street Journal reporting that the U.S. is looking to restart their Project Freedom to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. We're also getting reports that Saudi and Kuwait are restoring U.S. military access for the Hormuz mission. So apparently U.S. military could be able to use Saudi Arabian and Kuwait air bases. We also, again, have reports that the U.S. is looking to restart Project Freedom. So a couple different headlines out of the Middle East. USO spiking once again. Back to you.
Oh boy, there we go. Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. I mean, if the deal doesn't get done, you got to put leverage on them. How are you going to put leverage? Military leverage, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about there. All right. Yeah, that's basically it there. Kind of, got stopped out of ATRA, did lose the $0.25, but retraced right above it. So I want to see what this one does, but I think that's probably enough trading for me on the day. Let's finish the news over here. All right, let's bring this in. Just make sure all my orders are canceled so that nothing triggers while I'm doing the news. There we go. Good. Whew. All right, so ARM. We finished talking about this. Any comments on ARM? And then I have some things I want to say as well.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers would be a little bit better, but they were talking about supply restraints. And I think that's the narrative, right? There's a big time supply issue right now that can't meet with the demand. We know that ARM, SoftBank holds the majority of the shares, 85% of the float, I believe, is by Masayoshi Son. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really have to say about ARM. I would think that you'd see a little bit better performance, but they just can't keep up with the demand. It's just a trade that is, I think, for the next couple of years, that's going to be the bottom line, and that's going to be the narrative, is just that, hey, we can make a little bit more cash, but there's just not enough materials in order for us to do so. They're obviously involved with the wafers and everything along those lines as well, too. So they're just like just a massive supply constraints right now, man.
2 points I want to make, other than the ones we already spoke about. They quietly confirmed that their ARM AGI, which is Artificial General Intelligence, of course, CPU architecture, is going to actually require a lot more R&D, a lot more testing, and a lot more support per customer. As a result, they're saying that the cost of service is putting unexpected pressure on operating margins, hence why they didn't increase the guide and why the market kind of made them pay for that. So that's one of the reasons. They're looking to funnel money into this chip, which is supposed to be supportive of AGI. Whether or not it actually ends up achieving its goal, we'll have to wait and see. But that's causing some cost pressures for them and could explain why the guide wasn't raised. And I think the market was looking for a guide raise given the insanity that we've seen some of these other companies guide to, right? AMD, Qualcomm, as well as many others. And then the China exposure. So really underreported here was the lack of specific commentary in ARM's China's independent operations. Fresh trade tensions, of course, surfacing this week between the U.S. and China. And investors are like pushing for this ARM black box, so to speak, that they have in China to give more details on that and how operations are going to go into the future and what to expect in terms of revenue, which we didn't get on the call. So some possible reasons here while we're selling off on ARM. I would say of the bunch, it probably is the lack of guide as a result of higher cost pressure. So if you're invested in that name, something to look out for. Let's look at the TA and see how ARM or the morning watch list did on the note today. It said, look, watch for a reclaim of 225 to 228 to squeeze to trigger a squeeze back towards 235. So you didn't stop here. The only area you stopped was 213. So you didn't really get any holding up at 225 or 228. It was a flush in a straight line. Oh, sorry, that's yesterday's price action. Pardon me. I'm looking at this morning's over here. Let's look 225, look for a reclaim of 225. You never got it. So, and then the second option was a failure to hold 220 increases the risk of continuation lower into the 215 area and possibly 205 support band. So what ended up happening? Did we get the failure to hold 220? You certainly did, because 220, it was more like 223. That was resistance. So it was a bit of a range, quite frankly, between 223, you could say, and about 217, 216 and a half. And then the last one here was avoid chasing sharp pops unless volume confirms buyers are regaining control after the earnings flush. I would say the best one here was probably this failure to hold 220, but there was probably a lot of bamboozlement along the way because you did have price spikes up, as I mentioned, into about 222, 223. So if you were able to absorb that kind of movement, then you were probably able to take this one down into the low, which was at around 210. This one said, look for the 215 area and then possibly 205 support band. We haven't quite made it down into 205. We are speaking about ARM. Let's talk a little Snap here, Joey. Snap, interesting report. Are they up? Are they down? Let's have a look. So Snap is down 2 2/3% on the day. All right, let's talk about this report. Cautious Q2 guidance and the end of its Perplexity AI deal undercut an otherwise mixed report. Revenue coming in at $1.53 billion. That was in line with estimates. Sales did rise 12% year over year on the quarter. Global daily active users coming in at 483 million versus the 475.6 expected. I would say that was a bit of a win here. Or is it a win or is it a post-Australia social media ban bump? Remember we talked about their DAOs in the last report and it was down and they blamed it on the limiting of social media for teens and younger people and how that would have a bit of a headwind for that, for the DAOs. So possibly a bit of a rebound there. It shows user growth improved after prior weakness, as I mentioned. ARPU, average revenue per user, slightly missed at $3.17. The street was looking for $3.20, pointing to weaker monetization despite better engagement. Net loss did narrow, so they were able to shore up cost. 36% the narrowing was, $89 million they lost. It was helped by cost discipline as well as margin improvement, says the report. Q2 guide, 1.52 to 1.55 billion. That's roughly in line, but assumes no contribution from the canceled $400 million Perplexity partnership. The market really kind of implying that user growth is stabilizing after some of the regulatory changes with respect to younger users. But ad monetization here, especially larger advertisers, weak. Middle East, headwinds, lost AI optionality because of that Perplexity deal. That kind of keeps Snap in the penalty box, so to speak. So we'll have to see how Snap does going into the future, but not a name I love all that much. Joey.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it either. And that's one thing that I wanted to bring up is just how much advantage can they take of some of the ad sales? We know with Meta, it's essentially all of their revenue. And this is what you want to see from this company. I mean, they're getting involved with the wearables. I don't think that's the direct path. 5% increase in daily active users, which it's fine. It's modest growth there, which is fantastic. They're getting hit with some tax fines as well, or some tax. What was it here? 9 million global active users. I was just looking for how much. So yeah, anyways, they're getting hit with some tax bill at the end of the day. I was just trying to find something and the exact number of what it was. But 74% year-over-year growth in Spotlight posters in US, over 61% globally. March Madness had a lot of chats going on with that. But I think with this company, you really want to focus on digital ads just because you can see what's going on from some of its competitors. With Meta, 97%, as I just mentioned, you really want to see that uptick, and we're not getting that. Is this going to be a thing of the past? The monthly active users isn't small. 483 million daily active users isn't small either. So I want to see them start to take more advantage of that because I think that's where you're really going to find the growth, especially where we're sitting from an economic standpoint and just with its competitors. So that's something they need to focus on and not necessarily wearables. I don't think that's the right direction. Because one more, if you see that with Meta's really struggling with the wearables, why are you going to do that when you're already a smaller platform? I just don't believe that's the right way to go.
Agree. Couple of comments. There was a huge bump in their ad performance because they moved the ads tab into the chat tab, or the ads, into the chat tab. Apparently, that's the app's most frequent touch point. So putting the ads where the user is more likely to engage, certainly helped. And you saw a 226% increase in click-through rates and a 59% jump in conversion volume. That's the most important metric, right? Taking the user and converting them into a paying customer or whatever your goal is there in the conversion. So that's good. I did like that. Maybe that's why we're not down as much. Also, other revenue really growing, and that's not the wearables that Joey was talking about. So advertising, the core business, only grew at 3%. Other revenue surged 87% to $285 million. So what are we talking about here? It was driven by Snapchat Plus. That's a subscription model, right? And now that's crossed 17 million users paying for Snapchat Plus. I'm pretty surprised by that because most of their users are young, except Joe.
You know,
right?
you wanna know why Snapchat Plus is gaining ground?
I want to hear it. Oh, because you can take pictures and stuff like that?
Well, yeah.
Oh, seriously, tell me. Let's just come with it.
More or less the adult aspect.
Oh, is that it, huh?
Yeah.
Seriously, huh? And even they have those options for kids, though?
I don't think so for kids, but you can. That's where.
Okay.
know.
That's weird. All right, one more thing. Then they're basically going to cut aggressively. They're looking at cutting $500 million. It's not just with layoffs. They're looking at basically cutting aggressively in all areas, including AI, utilization, smaller teams, really focusing these groups to achieve the task at hand. $500 million for a company like this on an annualized basis, quite good. We're going to Adair.
Keep an eye on GPCR and VKTX, both of these names moving to the upside after CFO of Novo Nordisk, Karsten Munk-Knudsen, told Semaphore the company is looking for even bigger deals after losing their Metsera bid to Pfizer. Now, we know that yesterday, CEO of Novo Nordisk, Mazir Magdustar, also indicated the company is looking to buy out another company, looking for some acquisitions. So more M&A talks for Novo sends VKTX and GPCR to the upside. Sorry, GPCR to the upside once again here. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. All right, let's talk about the next one. DoorDash, that is. Good report. Last time I looked, they were up nicely. Let's see what they're at now. They're flat. Wow, we sold the entire move from the morning. Dang, Dash. Well, from yesterday's pop, we popped up into 195. We're down now into 168, essentially. Let's talk about this one. Surged. Their revenue surged. No, that was the pre-market move. It was, the report was driven by strong food and grocery demand, and that drove the better than expected order growth in Q2. The company highlighted accelerating grocery adoption through partnerships with like Sobeys and Safeway, Dash Pass membership, that's their SaaS model like Uber One. Growth remained strong. It reinforced a long-term convenience as well as a retention story, a bit more of a sticky model there. Management said new U.S. grocery customers hit a record quarterly revenue despite the macro headwinds and the gas concerns. The company expects gas relief initiatives to cost more than $50 million. More on that in a second when I give my comments. The market implication, though, here is investors are increasingly viewing Dash as a broader local commerce platform rather than only a food delivery company. And that kind of makes sense because we see people getting stuff from grocery stores, convenience stores, basically anything you want. You can kind of get it dropped off.
Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, I was going to pull up a different name here, Sharif. So really good numbers across the board. Revenue increasing 33%. Net revenue margin was down 30 basis points. So consensus looking at 60 million there. And then we also have online food delivery reported 27% year over year. Sharif mentioned that. Marketplace GOV increased 37% year over year. So some pretty strong growth. But how much market share? I don't believe DoorDash is the more popular one here. Obviously, in Canada, we use Uber Eats, and then some people use Skip the Dishes. I think it's really regional, and it depends where you are if you're using DoorDash. But you know what I think, LYFT? You know what I think would be a really good play? If you have Lyft and DoorDash merger, Sharif, so you can really compete with the Uber.
That's a great point.
Right? So I think that would be a massive merger, in my opinion, and then you can really start to gain share from Uber, which is actually dominant in the space.
Yeah, right? And they pretty much dominate everything. All right, here is the Dot. This is DoorDash's autonomous robot, and it goes around on the sidewalk delivering your parcels, and then neighborhood kids will draw untoward things on it. Just ask Brendo. All right, So DOT, this is DoorDash, as I mentioned, in-house autonomous delivery robot. Management revealed that DOT now is handling mid to single-digit percentages of orders in the hardened urban markets. I don't know what hardened urban markets means, but maybe like the New Yorks and the LAs and whatever. So this is their little robot here.
I think that's where we typically start, is like the LA, like the San Franciscos.
For sure.
Yeah, right?
And think about the margins on this product here. No paying a driver, nothing here. Oh, that's not good for employment, but I'm talking about for profitability for the company.
But then we fall into that same question that we ask ourselves: how does it work in different climates, right? Like if there's like a massive snowstorm, sorry, DOT ain't getting you your.
Yeah, you gotta have like tank.
Yeah, well,
you have to have
get
like
those snow tires on there. You gotta get yeah.
What?
Or flooding.
Or
yeah,
flooding. Yeah, like a
mean,
Florida on this. You know what I mean? Like who knows? So that's their DOT. That's their DOT. But I do also like the U.S. and grocery retail attracted more new people to the DoorDash platform this quarter than in any other previous quarter in the company's history. And that's because they're expanding their moat, right? It's not just about food delivery now. It's about you want anything delivered, groceries, etc. And that grew pretty aggressively here. Also, remember that $50 million that they're giving back to their drivers as a result of the increase in the cost of gas? They were able to offset that $50 million through other efficiencies internally, so that it didn't affect EBITDA at all and it didn't hurt margins. That's a good accounting move by them. And then they talked about Tony Xu here. He's the CEO. He explicitly commented on the agentic ordering experience. What do I mean by that? The process goes beyond just simple chatbots. It's a plan for AI agents to autonomously discover items, formulate the order, and handle customer support with much lower friction. This is what we're talking about now. We're talking about agents basically doing everything on the customer's behalf. And there are now these websites and I think message boards where it's agent only. And agents go on there and speak to each other and strike deals and make, whatever arrangements, excluding all humans. This is like the beginning of Skynet all over again, but that's kind of my take there on Dash. Let's have a look at how the technicals jive today. So it says continuation long above 190. That didn't come in at all today. Did pop up yesterday in the aftermarket, but the highest print we had this morning at 4 a.m. was 186. So that 190 did not come in. The other one here, best long setup may come on a pullback into 183 to 185. Did that come in? Not at the opening bell. The highest print there we had at the opening bell was about 180.97. That's the closing print. This is the one that I like though. Lose 180 and momentum likely cools towards 172 to 175. You got 180 in a hurry. You got it right at the implied balance open. So maybe that one was a bit harder to take. But did you get the 172? You got it. You got more. You got pretty much 165 area low. So you would have left some money on the table there. But I think 172 would have been a decent move from 180 to 172. That's $8 in the money there. So the last one coming in there, the losing of 180 and the momentum rally into 172, 175 coming in there on the note. Let's talk about McDonald's. I was about to say a different one.
Oh.
Why is everything tanking like this?
It's what's it? Happy Meal Day, where you go and you donate whatever you got, whatever you buy, you purchase
today
to like
Ronald. No way.
Ronald. I don't know if it's today. It might have been yesterday or something along those lines. But everything
that's
you
pretty
get.
Cool. I was just gonna get something, maybe give it to a homeless person or something. Yeah, just contribute.
Yeah, you know where I stand on that place, anyways.
Of course. Yeah, definitely agree. They beat estimates on both earnings and revenue as traffic and customer spending remained resilient despite a tougher consumer backdrop, as well as, of course, the rising popularity of these GLP-1s, right? Adjusted EPS came in at 283 versus a 274 expected, with revenue rising 9% year over year, up to 6.52 billion. Same store sales, 3.8%. That's roughly in line with expectations. U.S. comp so a bit better, 3.9, and the customers in the U.S. spent more per visit. Management said value offerings continue to drive in traffic, but the premium launches like the Big Arc Burger and the branded tie-ins, those are helping lift up the average spending per customer. So those help with margins. International markets remain strong. Specifically cited in the note here were France, Germany, Australia, and Japan, all contributing to solid comp growth. The implication here is MCD continues acting like a defensive consumer staple with pricing power, though, as we saw with the big ARC, even as a broader restaurant and consumer spending concerns persist, Joey.
Yeah. I mean, first quarter revenue up 9% to $6.5 billion. I mean, profit climbed 6%. And then you can see a 3.8% increase in stores that have been at least open a year and a month. So it's not too bad. And they are betting heavy on some of these value meals. And I think that's the ideal thing to go. That's why fast food was most popular, because it was cheaper than cooking at home, right? They have that new drink lineup too with all those funky names. I forget some of them that we weren't overly intrigued about, but you have the dollar menu start to come out during the summertime here at least. And they also have the big arc. So they do have some new releases. They're shifting their menu options, which is extremely important in my opinion. But I think they were just struck for quite some time. McDonald's, to the downside, is that you have the disruptive service in the GLPs, right? So you have the Novo and you have the Ozempics, the Wegovy, and everything along those lines that were like, hey, we're trying to find some more healthy alternatives. And we didn't see too crazy of a shift within McDonald's in that area to kind of mitigate some of the loss from all of these disruptive services stepping into their industry. So I'm personally not the biggest fan of the stock. They offered a dividend. I don't really like McDonald's. I go there maybe once every couple of years.
I like the McFlurry.
You like the McFlurry? I'd rather get
Oreo McFlurry.
I'd rather get a Blizzard, right? Like, again. But yeah, that's where I stand, right? They're growing. They're bringing in value meals. That's important. You want to keep it relatively cheaper instead of having to go here in the city. I think it's like $20 you're going to pay for a combo. And so yeah, value is extremely important. You can grab some more eyes with that.
Talk a little AppLovin. Earnings beat keeps AI ad growth story alive. So AppLovin beat expectations on both earnings and AI revenue as its AI-powered mobile advertising platform continues gaining traction. Adjusted EPS $3.56 versus the $3.49. Revenue rising 59% year over year to $1.84 billion. Adjusted EBITDA margins 85%, with the company's strong operating leverage and efficiency really gaining traction. Q2 guidance was pretty strong. Revenue projected 1.92, 1.95, with margins coming in at 84 to 85%. They did buy back, $1 billion in stock in the quarter. And they remain one of the market's highest beta AI software names, though investor sentiment has been volatile after the stock fell more than 30% year to date before the earnings report yesterday. Implication here is this quarter that is, reinforces the AI monetization narrative around their ad engine, but regulatory as well as credibility risks remain a major overhang. We've seen this one attacked multiple times by short sellers and, some of their accounting practices as well as how they're doing their advertisements here, Joey. Yeah,
so I mean, a pretty solid guide. They're looking for that uptick in margins here. EBITDA margin of approximately 84% to 85%. It's pretty high. That's good if you ask me. Revenue in the first quarter, $1.84 billion. Adjusted EBITDA, $1.56 billion. Free cash flow was at $2.9 billion. So not too bad of a look. But if we take a look at some of the technicals here on AppLovin, from a high of 743 to where we're currently trading at, you're still down 33%. You do have a nice bounce off of the lows, 369 all the way up to 497. Today's session at 500. I know this name's pretty popular among some of the analysts, but the way it's been performing right now, nice bounce off of the lows, but it's still down substantially off of its previous all-time high.
All right, a couple of things is they filed for a mixed shelf offering, and it doesn't mean they're going to sell now, but that basically gives them the legal right to raise billions of dollars in capital at a moment's notice, of course, and that creates dilution. So the market may not have liked that as much, despite the fact that there was a lot of positives in this report. Specifically, they have a segment called Consumer Verticals, and that saw April revenue, specifically April, hit an all-time monthly high, and it even exceeded Q4, where a lot of the advertisers advertise because of the Christmas season. So the fact that in April, a random month where there's really nothing doing other than maybe, even Easter was earlier this year, exceeded Q4. That's a fantastic look. With respect to technicals, we're still up about 0.25% on the day. We'll see how the morning note jive with this one when we get back from Madeira.
Yeah, take a look here at NFLX, seeing a report from Puck suggesting that the company is close to an NFL deal. So again, NFLX and Watch reportedly nearing a deal with the NFL. Back to you.
It'd be interesting. See how many games they get a week there, Katina, man. Maybe it's like the Sunday night game or something like that. We'll see. All right, let's see how the morning note came in with respect to APP. All right, so app. We're up 5.87% on the day. We're a little bit off highs, though. Looks like there was a big seller at 510. So this one said, holding above 480 keeps the momentum, favoring continuation towards 500. You didn't get that. You didn't get anything at the opening bell. The opening print was 454, and it rejected 470. That's the opening print at 9:30. What's the other one? A clean breakout through 500, and another squeeze into 520. Well, you got to break through 500. You didn't get 520, though. The best you got was about 512.5. What was the other one? Failure below 470, weakness. The setup... 470 weakness, the setup, and increased risk of retracement to 460. Did you get 470? Let's see. You didn't get it. Well, you got it right at the bell, but then it ended up moving up. So it didn't really hold. It did fail 470 initially. It popped back down to 454. So you would have had to do that on a 15-minute basis. That would have been a tough trade there. I wouldn't have taken that one, quite frankly. So the morning note, this one not that great. Let's go on to the next story. Unity reported earnings this morning. See how they're doing. Oh my God, why does everything look like this today? Pop up, tank back down 1.4. Here's how they did. Stronger than expected Q2 guide despite a mixed Q1 result. Q2 revenue guidance came in at 550 to 565 million. That was well above the 507 2/3 expected by the street. Strategic growth revenue. I don't know what that means. It's expected to grow $455 to $465 million this year. That would be up 29 to 32%, with adjusted EBITDA guidance coming at 130 to 135 million. Q1 revenue did rise a healthy 16.8%, up to 508.2 million. That beats estimates. EPS slightly missing at 23 pennies. The Create Solutions revenue, though, brought in $157 million, and Grow Solutions brought in 352, basically accounting for the bulwark of their top line number there. And it really did show that the ad tech side remains the primary growth engine. Management also highlighted the improving margins as well as the strong monetization tools as well, Joey, as the accelerating game discovery trends. I don't know what any of that means. I don't follow game discovery trends.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, good games.
Not a thing that I follow.
Yeah,
that
no, they're in
closely.
some. They're involved with some games, right?
So,
the software is used, the platform or whatever is for some games, I believe. Like
I took this a different way.
Cell phone game.
Yeah,
It could be totally a different way than what I'm
game discovery
explaining.
trend. I don't know if you've. Okay, so when I had the free tier of Duo, all the advertisements were by Unity.
Okay,
and some of the advertisements for the games, you could actually play the game in the advertisement.
Yeah.
Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. I mean, the stock hasn't been performing well whatsoever. It's down 48%. Guidance wasn't the best either. You're looking at a 12.1% decline in the next quarter, which isn't good. Surprise of minus 2.13%. So, yeah, I think it was a guy that had a lot to do with it. I just got a...
Oh, this is a test. We were supposed to all get it. Yeah.
Everybody's phone's
here it
going
is,
off.
yeah.
We just got an Amber Alert here. Everybody's phone's going off. So don't worry, no one's snatched up the kids.
No, they said it was going to be a test. I saw it yesterday. This is a test, it says.
Yeah, it's a test. So, I mean, this is just another software name that's down 50%. Suit up, Joe. Yeah, I know this is another name that's down 50%, and I don't think it's going to recover anytime soon, regardless. And if you're going to guide a little bit lower in the street, not like what you got, and you're going to have a 12% decline in EPS. So, yeah, not too good of a look here in Unity.
Datadog holding up better than any name that I've seen today. Still just marginally below VWAP, but definitely still above that 25% boom. It's up 27 3/4. They surged big time in the pre-market after beating Q1 estimates and issuing a stronger than expected Q2 and full year guidance. Adjusted EPS coming in at 60 pennies versus 51. Revenue rising 32% year over year to $1 billion, beating the $960 million expected by the street, with adjusted operating income $223 million and a strong 22% margin. Free cash flow reaching $285. Large customers remain the key driver, though, for Datadog, with clients generating $100,000 or more in annual recurring revenue, rose 21% year over year. So they have about 4,550 those big clients that are spending more than 100K a year recurring. Q2 revenue guidance, they guided 1.07 to 1.08, well above the 994.5 expected by the street, with the full year revenue guidance now 4.3 billion to 4.34 billion, well ahead again of the 4.12 expected by analysts. The implication here, Joey, is that they're being re-rated as a durable, AI-enabled cloud growth leader with improving profitability.
Yeah, I mean, the cloud security is huge for Datadog, and this is where we're seeing a lot of the growth step in. The first quarter growing 32%, that's some big time numbers. Shares were up 30%, but they're also looking at some full year guidance that's pretty strong, guys. You're gonna see a substantial growth within those metrics as well, too. So 2026 full year revenue sitting at 4.3 billion with the estimates around 4.10 billion. So yeah, I mean, it's some good stuff. A lot of it having to do with the cloud expansion that we're experiencing throughout the hyperscalers. And then sure enough, you have the security. They have the ability to collect a bunch of data and see and look at it all as a whole picture. From what I'm understanding with this specific company is that they can look at your whole cloud base and see if you're performing where you need to be and up to par in different sectors, and looking at the picture as a whole, if that even makes any form of sense. I was reading up on it a little bit more, but a little bit more difficult to understand. But this cybersecurity, I'm not surprised by it whatsoever, and a big time recovery from Datadog. 30% is quite a bit, and I'm not surprised that we're starting to see that come back in a little bit here.
All right, we'll just do this one super quick. Fortinet, great report for them. Where are they up? They're up 18.75. They beat expectations both on earnings and revenue as enterprise cybersecurity spending remains resilient, even in the face of Anthropic. EPS adjusted, that is, came in at 82 pennies, well ahead of 61. That was the expected by the street, with revenue rising nicely to 1.85 billion and beating estimates by 7 whole percentage points. The company has now beaten EPS and revenue for 4 consecutive quarters. That kind of reinforces the execution strength in a very, very competitive cybersecurity market. They also highlighted improving earnings estimate revisions, with attention now shifting to full year guidance as well as industry demand trends. The peer read-through is pretty important here because Zscaler is set to report next, and the broader cybersecurity sentiment is improving in the group after some area lows. We can just quickly look at the daily over here, Assassino. This is where we were, man. FTNT basically held 75 clean from 75 to the high today. You're up 50% in a few months here. The market implication is investors are rewarding the profitable growth and the operational consistency as the cybersecurity spending remains one of the stronger enterprise software themes. We saw a lot of destruction in the SaaS, Mageddon, blah, blah, blah. FTNT, PANW, CARWD, ZS, they're all big on the day. There are no red names on my cybersecurity watch list. 2 o'clock, but we're not going to send over to the big boys quite yet because we got to send them to Adaro.
Yeah, we'll send it. Oh, there, go over to Adaro.
Sorry about that, guys. Earlier today, we know that we had a spike in oil, drop in the market as we had reports that the U.S. was preparing to resume its Operation Freedom. Now we're hearing reports that they are not going to be resuming Operation Freedom. In fact, saying that earlier reports are incorrect. So more back and forth here in the Middle East. USO dropping here, and NASDAQ reviving itself a little bit. Back to you. And I guess back to the guys in the afternoon show.